Buh.
Uh,
Buh.
uh,
Buh. Buh.
uh,
Buh. 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 Velvet. 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 What's happening, everybody? Is this really reality? With Velvet and Booma San. What's happening, everybody?
What's happening? That was Booma's idea. To act like cavemen.
We have to go with the background, right? What the fuck? Yeah.
Right?
We're podcasting in the cave. Can you imagine how good your crystal pyramids would sound inside of one of those caves?
I know. Wouldn't that be fabulous to do that?
That would be pretty freaking cool. Get
That
a whole
would be
bunch of people in there and just rock out.
Right? Sorry.
Rock out with your rocks out.
Yeah, don't be saying the other word there.
I wouldn't. Never. I would never say that.
Sorry, I accidentally hit this. Okay. Yeah. You wouldn't? Yes, you would. I know you better than that. You might not say it on the air.
Never say.
Maybe you would.
Cock-a-doodle-doo. What's happening, everybody?
Hey.
Wow, look at that chat. It's rocking and rolling. I got Velvet here. And we're not doing the pyramids, but we can talk about whatever. But we were having some great conversations. And we don't have to get into the specifics of it, but you just went through like a major life challenge, and it makes you question a lot of things, and you go through some stuff, and maybe it.
We can talk about it if you want. I'm okay.
All right. Well, whatever you'd like to bring up. It caused us to have some. I mean, I think we would have had great conversations either way, but was just an interesting timing of starting to do the sound baths and stuff, and then have this.
Yeah.
Thing happening in your life.
Okay, so this thing is my mom passed away. It'll be 2 weeks on Sunday, so it's still new. Yeah. And it was a very long, drawn out process. A poor woman. And I maintain to this day that a lot of it was because she was so afraid to die that she just kept hanging in, and it was like, Mom, like, Yeah, but catheter and diaper, you can't feed yourself. You're not in your right mind. Your kidneys are giving up. Your bowels are giving up. Your liver's giving up. Like, And so it's pretty hard. In the odd time, something will come up that I see that triggers some emotion. I mean, it is still new, but I did a huge grieving a couple months ago. I was couldn't sleep one night, and you're just doing that hitching sobbing, right? Because I knew she wasn't coming out, and that was like 2 months ago. So I kind of did my grieving there, which is why I can talk about it now and not get all emotional. Plus at the end, I mean, don't even get me started on hospitals and doctors, and there is no such thing as nutrition in a hospital. They have dietitians, they don't have nutritionists, and the food is crap, and it's microwaved, and it's awful. Fresh fruit, what is that? You get a banana maybe. So, I mean, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, so you came along, Dorian, into my life at that point.
Right.
And, it's interesting, right? Like they say, when one door closes, another one opens, and here I am talking to you.
Have a little bit of fun, but yeah, that was tough. And then I was getting so stoked about like the sound baths, and you'd come on the one Booma streamer and shared some of those, and everybody was like, "Whoa, this lady's got like," I mean, you can just look behind you. She's got crystals. She's got I don't know what you call the perfect like spheres that you have. The
my crystal balls.
Yeah, you're like crystal ball
spheres. Yeah.
You have one that's massive. You got a salt lamp that's massive that was in that last one that we did. That was just the sound bath with the mostly the pyramids. But that thing, what you say, 35 pounds?
35 pounds. And I found it at a thrift store.
Wow.
For 17 Canadian dollars. So
17 Canadian dollars.
Canadian dollars, eh? Can't forget the A.
But you got all kinds of stuff. Everybody was loving the sound bath, so we're getting into that. And then you had this thing going on in your life, and that was what was, we'll get to more of that. But then we had some great conversations, and like I said, I think you would have otherwise either way, just talking about different stuff. Cause I come from a little bit of the healing background, the sound baths and all that kind of stuff. And then all the things you got kind of coincided perfectly with a lot of the stuff that Sabrina and I have already done with like the crystals and like the different healing modalities. So yeah, we had some talks and I was just like, let's do a show where we just chat. And so here we are, and we have questions, that we'll delve into some things. I've wanted this channel to not be like a hardcore like Christian channel or anything like that. Even though I have my faith, I've expressed it boldly, and that's where I stand. It goes for what got me out of addiction. However, I want to have conversations with people that have different faiths, different beliefs, different walks, different journeys in the way that they perceive things. And after going through something like that, I think it's a good way to like segue into having some of these conversations. I've lost some people along the way. I've lost a lot of friends to addiction, and yeah, some of those are tough things to swallow. But family obviously being about as tough as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially my mom, it's very interesting. And first of all, I mean, she was 84, and I think that you connect with your parents when you're older in life. And her and I, like, she was my best friend. I would phone her like every day, and we would just talk about all the crap that's going on in the world and just about everything. I mean, she knew most of my secrets, not all of them. But mothers aren't supposed to know all of them.
Sure.
But yeah, I look at that with very fond memories, because I think, I'm so fortunate that I had her for so long and that we did have the bond that we had.
Right.
So, but that didn't happen until I was older. So
yeah, it's kind of the same thing with me and my parents. I went through a very rebellious phase, went through a phase where I was really struggling with depression and anxiety. Yeah, it got really tough at the last few years of high school and then into college. But then here in the later years, I guess I've really reconnected. They stuck with me even through a lot of really tough addiction times, and times where the suicidal ideations and the desire to want to end this whole thing and be done with it, because this world is so maddening at times, as everybody here understands. And then when you understand even more, it's even crazier, which wasn't until I got sober and then started really realizing what was going on. I was like, damn, I was right, but I had no idea it was even this bad. And it still sucked back then, not knowing all this. But anyway, they stuck through it with me. And a lot of people didn't. A lot of people were done. And I can't blame them, because, you become kind of an animal when you're like kind of trying to push people away, so no one really loves you, so that you can feel like you can take your life and no one will care. It's a weird thing playing with those suicidal ideations and those psychological mind games that everybody can argue about whether or not there's demons and Satan and what it actually is to have negative vibrations, and they cause you to have the kind of thoughts where you would think something like that, like let's be assholes to everybody that loves you, so that they don't love you anymore, and because you don't love yourself, and then you can just take your life and then be done with it, and they can move on. Like, it's a good thing, It's weird. But now I've reconnected with them, so I guess that's where I was going with it. It's like I've reconnected with my parents, and we have a great relationship now.
Right. Well, that's awesome, right? Because, like I told my son the other day, I said, there's a point in life where you look at your parents as just people, realizing that they're just making their way through life like everybody else, right? And you don't look at them as, on a pedestal anymore. You look at them a little differently. So yeah, it's kind of cool that happens. And now I'm dealing with my father, who just had a big fall and has stitches in his head, and he's all bandaged up. He's 87. He has Parkinson's. Oh, and again, I'm fortunate that I have him around, but he is the epitome of why you want to keep exercising in your life. He's exercised his entire life. And he's still asking me, even with his Parkinson's, he's driving. It's not real bad. He's still asking me, so when can I come and cut your grass?
Staying active, huh? It's just in him.
Yeah. Keeping busy. Just got to keep busy. And he's always stressed, you have to have a reason to get up in the morning.
Right.
So, and that's a very important lesson, I think, in life.
Right. And some of the older generations got that maybe better than some of the younger ones do now, because
absolutely,
a lot of this internet raises kids now. Different mindsets completely.
Absolutely. You know, and that goes into just everything that we're going through right now in the vernacular of what the government and our politicians are putting out there.
Right.
And I always say to people, you know what, like etymology actually used to be taught in the schools. I think it was 1946 that they stopped teaching it. And I always like to say, well, look at the word politician, right? Poly meaning many, and tick. So there's many blood suckers out there. That's what they are. And they're all in the government, and govern is, you know, to control. Ment is mind, mental. So there's many ticks, many blood-sucking ticks that are out there controlling your mind.
Yeah.
No.
And they seem to be nothing but prostitutes and puppets too.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Prostitutes and puppets, yeah. Well, I think, I don't even know if they're, well, okay, yeah, they are prostitutes. Sorry. That's funny, eh? Because my mind automatically went to women and thinking, well, just a minute. A lot of them have just been controlled and blackmailed to do that kind of stuff. But it could also mean male as well, right? So, but it's funny that your mind, again, right? It automatically goes to one thing that you've been, like, you think prostitute, I think woman. I don't think male, which is kind of weird. But again, that's all part of what they're putting in our heads, right?
Right. Yes, they're parasites, prostitutes. They're all kinds of things, but what it seems is as we start to learn more about, it seems like a lot of these people are literally groomed to be this. Or it's like almost like they have farms of this shit where they're grooming children to become this kind of stuff. You can go back and you can watch like Vivek Ramaswamy. Gosh, who's some of the other ones? I've seen it's videos of them like showing up on talk shows and asking a politician or somebody a question. And so it's like from very young age, these kids are brought up and they're brought in and see who rises to the top, or maybe when they're brought in, they're not part of that political farming. It's like they get, you know, like you were talking about blackmailed. It's like they have some look or they have some charisma. It's desirable. It's working. And then they come in and they take them to a party and get them too drunk and hook them up with a child or something like that and get some blackmail on them. And then they have them.
Yep.
And pet them.
Yes. And even if they're not groomed to do that, right? Because you know that I used to be in the modeling world, right? So many years ago. And there was some, I never really heard of the shady stuff when I worked in Japan. And when I was over there, I kind of heard some rumblings about some girls missing, and I was partying at a Yakuza bar, which is the Japanese mafia, and I didn't know that. It's too bad they had this awesome, great big picture of me singing into a champagne bottle. And they had put it right at the entrance when you came in. I would love to have that picture, but anyhow, but I was like, okay, I gotta like back off here a little bit. Things are not feeling right, which leads me into intuition and how we've lost our connection with our intuition on purpose. Of course, they don't want you to feel, right? And that's why I love the pyramids and the bowls and the sound and all that, right? Because it's all about feeling. It's about taking away all the other, you know, the visual and just getting into yourself and into your body and feeling that and paying attention to stuff. You know, I know everybody does this, especially in relationships, right? When you go out with somebody, if there's a little gnawing in your gut, and there is that gut brain, right, connection, that's called the Sushumna, by the way, in yoga, in Eastern tradition.
How do you say it?
I've
never heard that.
Yeah, well, and then there's something called the and the Pingala, and they kind of cross over the Sushumna. So the Sushumna is straight, and then these cross kind of where your chakras are, right? So
Is that what
anyhow,
some people call the Kundalini?
yeah,
Oh, it is
some
devil worship.
people a little bit, not really. The Kundalini is a lot more than that, but you know what? I mean, that's okay. Listen, we're getting off topic. Where was I? What was I talking
What?
about?
We're not off topic. We're talking about what you wanted
Yeah,
to
I
get
know,
into.
but I was going
Gonna
this
get
way, and
into
then all of
this.
a sudden I went,
Yeah, but you were getting into intuition, and you were feeling the
thank you.
intuition.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So, when we're in relationships or something and something is feeling off, or just even if you walk in a room and you feel like something's off, but you ignore it because then this takes over and you go, oh, okay, well, you know what? But he seems like a nice guy. She seems like a nice girl. It's okay. And then later you're like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Because you didn't pay attention. And of course, in Sabrina terms, that would be your biofield that's picking up on the other person's biofield, right?
Right, but you have ways of psychologically convincing yourself of things that aren't real, or cognitive dissonance, like they say, separating. That's what they do a lot with, a lot of this mind control stuff. And Sabrina gets into the technology and stuff of it, but like in psychology aspects of it, there really is just in normal everyday life. Maybe the technology's been around for a while, like Sabrina says, and all that kind of stuff. But even in normal psychology, I would think we have ways of justifying things, like women stay with men that are beating up on them, or men stay with crazy women even though they know it's unhealthy for them. It's like you're saying.
But you stay with them because the sex is so good, right? That's what I keep hearing.
One of my weaknesses I've admitted to. You're calling me out right in front of all these people. It's sometimes like that.
Right? I know. I remember watching Frasier. You remember that show Frasier a long time ago?
Frasier? Oh, here we go.
And Kelsey Grammer was going out with some lunatic, and he says, "But I can't give up this sex, man. It's so good."
Right? Damn it. There's all kinds of things, especially when it comes between or in relationships and whatnot. But yes, the intuition thing, like I can only imagine in the modeling world, especially, and we might get into that clip that involves the Epstein stuff, like you had shared with me on Instagram. But the intuition, like, tells you certain things, but then you're like, no, or somebody gives you like their thought on it and it changes your mind, and then you're convinced, and then somebody else adds a tidbit, and then you're like, oh, okay. And so there's different things that happen, and then you never know. So it's hard, I guess. As you get older, you get better at it, right? Because then you stop making the excuses, and you stop cognitively dissonance. You stop separating yourself from what you're feeling. And now that we're learning more about the biofield, we're actually like maybe can tune into that more and actually listen to what it is telling us and understand that discernment and that intuition that actually is inherent in us, and that a lot of this technology, a lot of this world hijacks, or it puts things in your mind through the magazines. Like, I mean, you were in the freaking modeling world. This is before you probably knew anything about like human trafficking or all the things that were going on. You were young and you were just following maybe what was a dream or something that was fun at the time. And then you find out more as you go. But damn, if they ain't trying to, especially here in America, sexualize everything. The award ceremonies and those red carpet things are a fucking joke now.
Yeah.
People wearing it has been for a while, but people wearing the dumbest and weirdest shit you could ever imagine.
Yeah. It's like they've taken it way too extreme. Like all this stuff is coming up that never came up before. It was always kind of hidden, right?
Right.
Hi, Jerry Lane.
What's happening, Jerry? It's good to see you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was too strong of a personality to ever make it, shall we say.
Yeah, they were probably likely grooming you and putting things in front of you and saying certain things to you to see how you react, and you didn't really go with what they would want from somebody that would be easily mind controlled or seduced into doing stuff that you didn't really want to do. And so how long did it actually last? What's up, biscuits?
How long did what last?
The modeling.
Oh, well, I was in and out of it. I was probably in it for about 8 years in the beginning, and then I got out, and then I went back, and I got out, and then I went back again, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. So, and that was quite a few years ago.
Were you doing runways and stuff, or was it more like
No, I'm
clothing
too
or
short for that.
like pictures and stuff, or magazines, or what?
Yeah, it was more pictures for magazines and stuff. Yeah.
Promos and ads, and were you doing like perfumes and
Makeup and, like, I don't know, stuff for Avon. I was on the cover of some packaging for some makeup and, um, I don't know. I did probably 2 dozen commercials. Didn't speak in any of them, but, did all that kind of stuff. And it was kinda it was fun, it was interesting, and people I know they'd look through my portfolio and go, "Oh, God, what," "look at you here and there," and I'm like, "Yeah, look at that," because it doesn't even feel like me, right? Because
right,
it's not really. I mean, it's hours of hair, it's hours of makeup, it's lighting, it's the way he takes the pictures, you know. So it's not really it's you, but it's not really you, if that makes sense.
right. I
Yeah, it's
think
kind of
I think Biscuits can relate. He had a similar, younger years in modeling. People don't know this about Biscuits, but that's why he doesn't like to dance so much anymore, because he danced all the time when he was young and he was out there modeling. And what's up, Biscuits? I'm glad to have you here, man. Just messing with you. But so there's so many different ways we could go with that. Did that lead into, after you got out of modeling, did that lead more into the crystals and the healing and wanting to be a part of that for some reason?
No,
What drew you to that?
um, I mm, I don't really know what happened. So when I was young, I remember having the same dream over and over and over again as a little girl. And it was always about these demons, perhaps, or just really scary figures that were chasing me. And I'd always run to this one part and just kind of, cower in the corner and go away, go away. And then one day when I got a little bit older, I stood up to them, and I never had the dream again. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I used to see dead people sometimes. And I remember once I was about 13, I looked in the mirror and I saw my great grandfather who had passed away, and he had no eyes. And it freaked me out totally. And I cut everything off right then. So fast forward to when
Wait. You say you
What?
cut everything off. What you just tried to close yourself off to it and you wouldn't accept
Yeah,
anything?
absolutely. You put up a barrier like, oh, I don't want to see that. I don't want to, the monkeys, right?
Was it just like in the movies, or was it all black in their eye sockets?
There's nothing. Yeah, just black, just black. Yeah, it's weird. But you know what? Later on in life, I would have dreams. Like, if you remember a dream, like, they're not dreams, they're actually visits. So I've had a couple visits, like probably 20, 25 years ago. I still remember as clear as the day that I had them. And whenever someone who's passed over is in my dream, they don't have any eyes. So I remember one of these, I was walking with someone that had passed, and I looked at them, and again, no eyes. And I said, "You're dead, you know." And they didn't speak, but they floated kind of like right beside me. We were going into a wedding with the big round tables and everything. We sat down, and she sat down beside me, and that was just kind of it. It was just weird, right? But I still remember it as clear as day. So now, even when people come to see me, sometimes I will see somebody that's on the other side. I use that term loosely because I'm sure a lot of people have experienced that. You don't see it with this. You see it in your mind's eye, right?
Okay.
And I can describe the personalities and everything, and they just pop in. I don't want to get into talking to them or anything like that. I just want to, it's just kind of confirmation. Oh, your grandfather's here, blah, 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 blah. And that's about it, right? Sometimes it gives people some comfort. So I don't know, whatever. I don't get into that too much. But anyhow, going back to that. So when I was in my 30s, I split up with the father of my children. And that's when I got into aromatherapy. I started aromatherapy. And
You said earlier before we came on that you started aromatherapy before there was a doTERRA.
Yeah, that's right. There was no doTERRA. There was Young Living, and people were trying to push me into that, and I've never been into that kind of thing. I'm like, no, 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 right? So, so I got into that, and then I took a course also on spiritual aromatherapy, which I was really fascinated by. So from there, I went into Reiki, and I took 2 levels, and I was like, okay, this is a bunch of hogwash for me personally, because I thought, I could go next weekend and take some course and become a master in it. Well, no, no, you just don't take a weekend course and all of a sudden you're a master. That doesn't work. So I never got that designation, which is fine. I don't like labels.
Right.
And it's funny how we've become so used to labels in our country. Or in the world as a whole, oh, this guy has a PhD and this, who cares?
Right.
I mean, I'm a self-taught herbalist. Does that make me less than if I had gone to school and learned about that? I mean, I've been growing herbs since I was 19 years old, for goodness sake. So, anyhow, and I started to work on people. When part of the aromatherapy course was learning how to do lymphatic drainage massage. So I did that. And then I took a reflexology course, which was amazing, actually. I learned so much in that course. But I don't like working on people's feet. Should have thought about that before I took the course.
I did a lot of that in massage. It wasn't too big of a deal for me. But I'm not into feet. I'm just saying.
Right.
I mean, we did more of we had like a foot spa on Cannon Beach, like literally where they sat down and there was literally a tub for their feet to go into, and then they'd prop them back up, and we'd do scrubs and you do a massage and oils and stuff like that on them. But the essential oils were a part of that.
Get me all excited right now.
We had all the ladies that would come in and they'd be in their finest, getting ready to have their, the bridesmaids and stuff like that, getting ready to go to their wedding and stuff like that. And so they were a little sauced up and flirty. And so sometimes that's kind of fun, not gonna lie. And everyone thought they did kind of nice, and it was a good time. We had some fun. We had a lot of laughs. Anyway, awesome. Reflexology, I know about it. I did a little bit of it, but I never studied it real close. But it's important.
Yeah. Well, again, it just shows you what is your body exactly, right? Because your entire body is represented in your feet. It's represented in your hands. It's represented in your ears. It's represented in your eyes.
Yes.
And I briefly just took a day course in iridology, which was fascinating as well, right?
I had that done.
Yeah, so you can see where everything's going wrong. A little bit harder on brown eyes, but the lighter eyes, it's pretty easy to tell.
Right.
Anyhow, so but it wasn't until, again, I've always been one to, I don't like courses so much, especially, but maybe that's because I'm older. But
or you intuitively just don't like indoctrination. You feel like you're being turned into this is I have a similar thing where it's just you feel like you're just becoming the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Even I'm hearing, are you getting
sound? Oh, I'm not getting any feedback. Because people are hearing feedback, please let me know. Because every once in a while I'll watch a video back and I'm like, I didn't even hear that. But for some reason there's feedback and it sucks. If you're hearing yourself or me reverberating, we might have to do something about that. I can put my headphones on or something.
Okay. Oh shoot, that reminds me, I forgot to get my headphones. Anyhow, so you have to trust your own instincts, right? About doing energy work specifically. I think you have to get into that person's space, their biofield. You have to feel where things are out of whack. I never lay my hands on the person until the very end to help ground them. And
Really?
I just do that at the feet,
So you
right?
do mostly energy work.
I do mostly energy work. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Do you consider it Reiki, or you don't even get into the terms?
I don't even get into that because in Reiki they teach you certain hand movements and then they focus on this symbol and I'm like, no, I don't do that, right?
Right.
Um the body will tell me what's going on, but I remember when I was first getting into this and before I was trusting myself and what I was seeing fruit on this one guy that came in to see me. Like I'd see bananas over here, I'd see strawberries as I'm working on them, right? I'm like, what is all this all about? So I actually said, okay, I said to myself, I need to, I'm going to speak up and ask this guy, what's the deal with the fruit, right? So I said to him during the session, I'm seeing a lot of fruit, like, cherries and all this stuff. And I said, do you have any idea what this means? And he goes, oh, my wife was bugging me this morning, telling me I'm not eating enough fruit. So, yeah, so stupid, right? But that was the beginning of me learning to trust what I was seeing and knowing that I was being guided in a certain way. So now I actually don't even talk to the person when they're on my table. I talk to them afterwards and I will tell them what I see. And, that we have a discussion back and forth about what they felt as well. And, so it's again, it's more intuitive. And yeah, we've totally lost touch with that. You're
Right.
having some problems there, eh?
Oh, this is me all the
Right?
time. Well, yesterday we mowed the lawn, and after we mowed the lawn, I had all kinds of stuff kind of release, and so I've
Mm.
been, I don't know, it's just like that tissue that is mostly probably fascial restriction that's built up over time. It's starting to release, but it's very uncomfortable, and I got really bad in my right shoulder, up to my neck, goes up into my skull and around my skull. So it's a thing. I mean, you've been watching me long enough. How do you not know that?
Yeah. No, I know that, but it just seems like even before we got on air, you were still doing that thing. So it's really
It's
bugging you
been really
tonight.
big time. I mean, like earlier today, this morning, I had some massive stuff with like the foam rolling, and then using I have like one of these guys. It's kind of like a harder body ball, whatever you want to call it. And I'll roll that like in between my shoulder blade and my spine. I'll roll it in my butt cheek, and then like around my hip areas where I'm having issues, and then around my deltoid and stuff like that. I got a lot of issues there, but for some reason, some stuff released in my hips and stuff, and then it went up into my rib cage, and then into my sternum, and into my shoulder, and up into my neck. So I'm gonna be fidgety, guys. It's just the way it is. But it's legit right now.
Boom, I just lost you.
I
Hang on,
still
there
hear
you
you
are.
up
I
here.
found you. I
Yes.
pressed the wrong button.
Oh no, why'd you do that?
No, I don't know.
Did you hear
'Cause
anything that I said?
what?
Did you hear anything that I said?
I did. So like you, I hold a lot of stuff in my butt. Like if I go for a massage, I like my butt massage because it's just, I don't know,
Right.
there's a lot of pain in there.
There are a lot of connections in the gluteus maximus areas.
Yes.
Connects into the hip flexors and the IT bands, and then up if it goes into the sacral area, and then especially me, I had a lot of back problems, lower back problems, L4, L5. So I got little love handles or whatnot that have built up really as a protection for my back, so it doesn't move so much after all the sports and injuries and stuff that I had. And then I got into lifting weights, yada yada. But yes, the piriformis and some of the work that I did in massage, because it was so beneficial to me, I always focused on making sure to hit those points
Yeah.
all over the glutes in different areas, whether it was more towards the hips or more towards the sacrum or down lower at the pelvic floor. It's people, I mean, those are huge muscles that move the center of your body.
Yeah, for sure. So, have you heard of Hannah Kroger?
Hannah Kroger.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
she's this, well, she's dead now, but she was this German herbalist. But she was talking about energy work and how it flows through the body and how your coccyx is all out of whack. And she used to realign all that kind of stuff. And actually, her books are fascinating if you ever want to get into that kind of stuff. So really cool. Anyhow.
Well, I mean, can't you just talk to her if you just open yourself up to talking to the dead again?
I'm not doing
I don't know how any of that stuff works. I had going back to that just a little bit, because when you were talking about it, I did have, when I was younger. So I had my best friend at the time. I told that story recently. What happened with him is very tragic. But he had an older brother. His older brother committed suicide, and he was kind of like the closest thing I had to an older brother when I was young. This was when I was in 4th grade. I like cut my hair like him. I like, bleached the top of my head first time because of him. I got my ear pierced because of him. Like, I really liked it. I just thought this guy was the coolest guy in the world, kind of a thing. And he was my best friend's older brother, kind of a deal. And he ended up committing suicide. And so for a long time, I was having dreams where he was floating on a carpet.
Oh, cool.
And he wouldn't talk to me or anything like that. But every once in a while, he'd look down on me and like he was checking in on me or seeing what I was up to, kind of a thing. And I'd watch him and he'd be flying on a flying carpet. It was a reoccurring dream. And then eventually it did stop. But that was a really rough one in my life. And then a lot changed because of what happened to my best friend. He kind of started losing it. And then we started to get into things we shouldn't get into early on. And that kind of stuff happened. But I've never really known what to think about, people that have passed over and being able to talk to them or communicate with them, or what happens in the dreams. Like you say, it's what did you call it earlier? It's like a visitation or
yeah, it's a visit. Yeah. Especially because you still remember that. And how many years ago was that?
I mean, we're talking, I don't even know if I can think
a long
about
time.
30 years ago.
Right. And since then you've had dreams, right? But you don't remember them.
I have dreams all the time. I don't pay as much attention to them, and so I forget them easier, but I know that I have dreams constantly.
Right. But that's what I'm saying, right? So that's a difference.
Right. And Sabrina's been on, and she had, I think she had a visitation, but I think it was like when she was awake and stuff, but she called him the bean can man. And he pointed her to some very important things that led to the kind of the discoveries that she made. And she said that it was Miyamoto Musashi. Do you know about him?
Yes, of
Yes.
course.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyways, so I don't know always what to think about some of this stuff, but I do enjoy talking about it and trying to come. That's what, is this really reality? We're trying to figure out what is real, what is the truth. What's your experience? What's your perspective? What do you think about various things? And so we've gotten into some really interesting topics already. We knew this would go wherever. And I don't even know why the caveman thing came up to me. I was just thinking, like, we'll just go back like time. We don't even know, like, if the caveman thing's real, or was it just a subset of humanity that ran away from civilized society and wanted to stay away from all those people that talked with words, fuck words. They were like, we'll just live on instinct, or I don't know. Fuck, I don't know, man. I don't know what's real and what's not. Because then we also talked about on this channel, like, resets. We've talked about what happened. I was showing Velvet a little earlier, but today this came out, and it's everybody's favorite orange puppet prostitute parasite. So Trump comes out and talking about how the Department of War has released the first tranche of UAP files to the public for the review and study, which is kind of shit, just drives Sabrina Wallace nuts. I'll be interested to get into a little bit of the alien stuff with you here. But this is the kind of stuff that we're dealing with, this reality, where after all this fucking time and all the speculation that's been done in the conspiracy world and all the people that have had visitations, like literal ones or abductions or whatever it is, some of that, I go up and down on whether or not it's the military industrial complex using technology on people, or whether or not it's interdimensionals, or whether or not it's demons, or what the fuck it is. But in an effort for complete and maximum transparency, where's the Epstein files? It was my honor to, where's the Epstein arrest? Let's say that. To direct my administration to identify and provide government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified flying objects. Whereas previous administrations have failed to be transparent on the subject. You weren't transparent in your first term. With these documents and videos, the people can decide for themselves what the hell is going on. Have fun and enjoy, President Donald J. tick.
So, have you read any of those things that got released?
I haven't delved into them yet. I'll be interested to see what all comes out on that. Just because maybe the redacted names in the Epstein files are also aliens. That could very well be the case, eh?
Right.
I don't know what's going on, but why all of a sudden? You know what I mean? Trump's headed towards like one of the worst polls or whatever they approval ratings, I guess is what they call it in history. He's headed towards that kind of shit, like horrible right now with the wars and the way things are going, the prices of gas and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, hey, everybody, now we got aliens. And then people have been talking for the longest time about Blue Beam and the fake alien invasion. What do you think, Velvet?
Well, I had read some information about a lot of this stuff was happening during the Nazis when that was going on.
Right.
And then they were making all these crafts back then. So, but I mean, you know, let's look at some of the Egyptian hieroglyphics where there's obviously, you know, there's hey.
Right? Just like kind of like back behind us in a way, but that's just
yeah, the petroglyphs in there, yeah.
Yep.
Right? So the same sort of thing that was on the walls back then. So, and I mean, look at what their gods were, some of their gods, right? Like Anubis, and I mean, there's some obviously genetic splicing going on back then.
Right.
Right.
They were testing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And there was talked about the bell. I don't remember what they call it right now, but the bell saucer, the one that looks kind of like a bell, flying saucer kind of a thing, and how they were trying prototypes back then. You got Admiral Byrd and what happened when he actually went to Antarctica. Speculation there about various crafts or various other beings, interdimensionals, aliens. What the fuck was it? Or was it part of a psyop? But who really won World War II? Or, you know, did the Nazis fucking win? But they made a deal to just send their scientists into America, pretend they lost, all that kind of shit, like with Operation Paperclip. Those are the kind of things that I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of survivors, right, have talked about what was his name? The big, the freaky scientist from the Nazis
Mengele?
Who was underground. Mengele.
Mengele. He's the one that I know.
And there's some survivors even today that talk about Mengele doing experiments. So,
right.
You know, yeah, I think that was just a bunch of BS. And I mean, Georgie Bush there, senior, excuse me. He was a German, wasn't he? And doesn't Trump come from a German family? You know.
I mean, I freaking knows today. I think he tweeted out, or recently he tweeted out that he was a cousin of King Charles, and so some people were talking about that. I think Charlie, I think you were talking a little bit about that, and some people in the Telegram chat about this thing now, whether or not it's just all BS or whether or not they're all some form of bloodline royalty. Not that the royals are in charge of fucking shit, but yes, I mean, Trump's like Scottish and like he's got some various heritage or whatnot, but Trump, I think is the real name.
Yeah, something like that.
At the end.
Well, and he's your typical kind of, doesn't he have blue eyes, blonde hair, right?
Ooh. There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. Just, you know, and go back to the reality statement. I mean, what is reality? Because your reality will be different from my reality. And it's the same as what a belief is. You know, I've often said that in the middle of the word belief is the word lie. So, you know, it's, I don't know. Life is weird. Like, what are fingerprints? What are fingerprints? Now, Chris at 6'7", he had a really interesting take on that. I don't know if you remember what he said, right? About being in the womb and the water creating the fingerprints, which I thought was pretty cool.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, he said that. And I thought that's a really cool way to look at it. But then we're all individual. We all have different. What's this? Is excited about what?
The Itty Bitty Titty Committee has arrived and is excited about Disclosure Day.
Disclosure Day for what? Itty Bitty Titties?
Well, we can always disclose itty bitty titties, but we're talking about all kinds of stuff, whether it's aliens, what we're talking about here. But yes, I got a little distracted there. But rum and soda is the name of the itty bitty titties.
Okay, so what is itty bitty titties? Like, I'm confused now.
It's an ongoing thing with rum and soda. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Welcome, rum and soda. Glad to have you here. Totally derail what we're talking about.
Hang on a minute. What's rum and soda about?
Rum and soda is the name of her titties. Everybody loves boobies, right? Save the boobies.
Oh, well, hey, guys name their peckers, so I mean, you know.
Right. When you first earlier said that you were working on a guy and you all of a sudden started seeing fruit, and the first fruit you saw was banana. I was about to ask, where was the banana?
Yeah, I know.
Where was it showing up in the room?
Right. No. Although I had one guy that tried that once. Yeah, buddy, put on your clothes, get out. So
hey, I had some ladies that did some things that
I'm sure.
I was like, oh
Did
my
you take
God.
advantage of them?
No, I actually got really nervous. Because I don't want to I don't want to be like a sting. I always think of like undercover cops or like people trying to like, I don't know, man. Like I've always been a paranoid type. Even when I was working in massage or whatnot. So when women would do that kind of stuff, and also then just to keep it like always trying to keep it professional. But I had a woman that I was always like, I have this like so much pain right here, and then she kept on like going lower and lower, and it was like to the point where it's like this lady wants a breast massage, and I ain't doing it. And then they show stuff, and then they I have had girls where they're like. And they're like moaning and like biting their lips and stuff, and I'm like,
ooh. This is juicy.
Not paying attention to this. Not paying attention to this. I had a woman while I was in a coffee shop right next to the massage place in Cannon Beach, and I was getting my coffee and like in between kind of massages. I had this woman run up to me and she handed me a $20 bill and she whispered and she said, "You're my favorite massage therapist." I had just done a couples massage on this woman, and I had done many on this woman, and her husband and her come and visit Cannon Beach. This woman's married. And I was just in a room with her and her husband and another massage therapist. And then this woman comes in and sneaks me an extra tip after they'd already tipped me $20 and said that I'm her favorite massage therapist.
There you go.
Is this really reality?
It's funny because when you said, you know, moaning, and you're like looking the other way. What do I think of? Austin Powers. Margaret Thatcher naked. Remember how he used to
I loved Austin Powers, man. Those were some of my favorite movies of all time for the longest time.
Right on, baby. Yeah, they were great. They're fun.
I think Mike Myers, I think it came out that he legit works for the CIA and he has like completely white hair now. It's crazy.
Of course he does.
I think he is trying to like make another Austin Powers though. I think that is in the works.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, well, that is what it is. He did the Love Guru one, and there were parts of it that were kind of good. Justin Timberlake was in that.
Right.
How did we get here? We were talking about Trump and like
because you were talking about girls moaning while you were giving them a massage.
It wasn't. It was rum and soda's fault. She came in talking
about that's right. It is totally itty bitty titties.
Itty bitty, big and beauty. They all good. We don't discriminate here.
No, that's right.
But aliens. I think we were headed towards a little bit of aliens and stuff.
Are we still on aliens? I don't know.
We don't have to be. But I did want to. Okay, I want to get your take though before we like leave the conversation completely. Do you believe that in space aliens, interdimensionals, terrestrial aliens that have always been here, reptilians, any of that kind of stuff?
Interdimensional, yes. I have. I've seen like tree fairies. There are, yes. Absolutely. There are things out there that we cannot see with our limited sight. So maybe they are the aliens because they look different from us. I don't know. Do I believe in, you know what? I'm still, the jury's out here as far as outer space.
Right.
Yeah. I
never thought I would say that probably only a matter of a year ago.
Yeah.
I really thought, I thought space might have been real. I thought the moon landing and all that stuff was bullshit, but I thought maybe there was like legit intergalactic travel and like that they put the moon in place for a specific purpose. It's like the Truman Show where they're fucking watching us from the moon and shit, like the Death Star or some shit. But now it's like, I don't know, maybe it was all fucking illusion. I have no idea. I don't know what to believe anymore. There was a discussion in the chat earlier where like someone was like, nuclear weapons aren't even real. It's like, I don't know. I know there's some powerful weapons and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but people, made claims that they never really made. It's just a fear thing, kind of a deal. I don't know what's real. As far as aliens go, I for the longest time thought of space aliens. Now I'm like, I don't even know if anything's past the firmament. If this is just a grand illusion,
Right.
I never thought I would think these things.
So you believe in a firmament?
I do tend to believe in a firmament.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I also think that there's a lot more to this place that we call Earth than what they're telling us.
Right.
I don't know.
Do you think it's bigger than what they're telling us? Do you think that there's an ice wall?
Yeah.
Where there are other continents outside of it?
And why are they protecting the poles so much? Like, that's suspect right there.
Right. Only certain people are allowed to go to like Antarctica, for example, like all the poles. There was a guy that came out, whether it's true or not, because he came out on a bunch of shows, but Sean Ryan was one of them, CIA Ryan. But anyways, he worked for Raytheon and he talked about how they were testing basically abilities to create earthquakes. Now, this is nothing new to most people here about these discussions and whatnot, but this is a guy that came out and made a pretty bold claim about working for Raytheon and some of the stuff that's going on there. Now you got HARP. Now HARP's old technology, just like all the stuff we talk about with MK Ultra, voice to skull. These are old things that Sabrina talks about. And then the talk about, messing with us via the towers and biosignals and stuff like that. Well, why would they put anything at risk by putting it within reach of humans so that we could destroy it? I think most stuff is like lower Earth orbit satellites and shit, but I don't know anymore if I believe that there's space and shit out there. I don't know. But that's a crazy thing to think because I've looked at the stars so many times and spent so much time imagining fucking like spaceships and stuff out there and other worlds and aliens and stuff. I mean, maybe there's still something like that, but whatever we're shown could be a fucking grand illusion. The sun that we see, is it really the sun that used to be?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's quite white these days. It's not yellow like I remember when I was little. And there used to be a lot more of it, by the way. So.
Do you remember chemtrails when you were growing up?
No.
Right.
I remember lying on my front lawn looking up at all the big puffy clouds. And, we used to learn about the different clouds formations in school. And you hardly ever see those anymore. No, they're all chemtrails now. Right. And I know when I see them, I'm like, okay, it's going to rain within 24 to 48 hours. Right. So, because, they got to put all that stuff down on us and in our earth and up our noses as we're breathing. Right. So.
Right. We can't even grow our own crops anymore because they're tainting them.
Yeah, exactly. And all the soil's tainted and, like, I know. Yes, they are actively trying to kill us. But and I don't know about you, but there seems to be a lot of people that have been passing over lately.
Right. Lots of turbo cancers, a lot of various things, whether it's heart problems or whatever.
I wonder what that's from. It's just kind of from 2020, isn't it?
Right. And I think it was Rand Paul, who's another, I think just they're all frauds, they're all actors or whatever. But I think it comes up here pretty soon that the statute of limitation on Fauci prosecuting him for anything is about ready to pass. And now we have UFOs and stuff coming out. MK Ultra hearing on the 13th of May that Sabrina's keeping her eye on because she's not happy about. And all these distractions. And then while they run these distractions, that statute of limit, like, I don't know how it fucking works, but that's what he's claiming out there. Maybe just to create buzz and create conversation online. I really don't know. Who knows what's fucking true about any of this shit that they talk about? Because you talk to a guy like Juxtaposition and it's like, there is no constitution. There are no countries. It's all Hunger Games. Blah, 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 blah. All NATO military operations. Nothing is real. Everything is fake.
Right.
These are all puppets that are worth nothing. They are just allowed certain privileges to fulfill the roles that they play. I don't fucking know.
Well, I mean, the fact is that we're never going to know because they're never going to tell us, little plebes, right?
Right.
So they just spin a story. Okay, so then this gets into something deeper, is our entire world, or what we perceive to be our reality, is all fake because our schooling system is indoctrination camps, right? But we are not learning what those at more, and I hate this name, we have to think of something else, elite schools. They teach them something completely different from what they treat us little plebes down here, right?
Right.
So we're never gonna know, and they fill our world with different media, and I can say that because I've been in that world. I can see how they like. There was a time there where I'm doing skin cream like for older women. I'm like 22 years old. I mean, come on. Like, I don't have a wrinkle on my face. Are people really believe this? So this is what I'm saying, is that your perception of what is happening in your world and what your world is has been created by them. That sounds like some reefer talk, man.
I know, man. These are the kind
But
of
it's
conversations
true.
that I was having just organically because I was getting high back in the day, but none of my friends were. They're like, "Shut up, bro. Shut up,
Yeah.
Dorian."
But the thing is that you were asking questions, right? And I think that we all need to ask questions. Like, I'm to the point now where I everything's been shattered. My ideas of, and going through, especially what I went through with my mom. I mean, that was just the final nail in the coffin. That there is no healthcare system. We need to drop that. It is a medical system. They are not taught about nutrition, the doctors. They are not good night.
Good night, Miss Cojones.
And hey, you girl left too. She had pizza, so I totally get it. So go for the pizza. Oh, and Biscuits was saying earlier too, I managed to say, he said he felt like an alien. I think you are. Just saying.
You think Biscuits is an alien?
But we love you. Well, yeah, I mean, he's got that super smart brain, right? I don't have
Right.
that.
He's
So
definitely different.
he is, but we love him.
Absolutely.
So yeah, just everything is being fake, and everything is being put on this planet for us. Okay, let's just look at that word for a minute. Plane with a T on the end. It's a plane, right? Which would say that it's more flat Earth. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying, let's just look at the word. They call it a planet. So, oh my God, I'm just going all over the place, Bimmy. You're gonna have to like keep bringing me back here.
Well, like
So,
we literally are trying to like educate, like he's saying here, Aaron, is
yes,
we need to educate ourselves from the ground up. Like
right.
we can't. We can. I love discussing some of these things, but always know it's just real humans speculating,
Yeah.
not controlled CIA, not trying to run narratives, not saying we know anything for absolute certainty. We'll have these discussions, but we need to educate ourselves from the ground up. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and that's why I love herbs, right? Because there's your medicine. You just go for a walk in the woods. You'll find all kinds of stuff there. Things you can eat, things that you can heal yourself with. But we have grown up in a society where we think we want a quick fix, right? Meanwhile, it's taken your body probably like 10 years or something to get into this disease, and everybody just wants it gone overnight. It doesn't work that way. Like, buddy, it took 10 years. Like, give it some time. But that's also something that energy workers do, right? Because we get into that before it manifests in the body. So that is the last step. It makes its way through the different etheric layers, different energetic layers, before it manifests in your body. So we kind of clear out that shit when it's hanging, above you in your energy field. So, and that's hard for people to grasp. Although thankfully it is so much better now than it was like 30 years ago when I was doing it. And I was giving talks on energy, and people were just kind of, dumbfounded. They didn't, probably thinking that I was just a nut job or something. But I tried to explain it just even in simple terms, right? About how people can feel their biofield. I said, when you're standing in line in the grocery store and someone's like standing too close to you, like, it's like, move back, buddy. You're too close. That's it. That's your biofields rubbing up against each other. So,
Did you, since you did energy work, maybe you didn't call it the biofield? Did you call it the aura? Or did you just call it?
Yeah, for sure. I called it the aura. I didn't know back then.
Right.
No. But I'm using correct terminology now because I listened to Sabrina.
I think it helps. Some technological terms, some education terms, some physiological, biological, actual terminology into the discussion, because some of that space does get woo-woo. You've worked in this space, and you've probably been around a lot of people that have taken too much of the woo-woo juice, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, I remember years ago. I went to, I used to call them my wacky weekends, right? But they were just like intense spiritual things, like working on yourself. And there was this one woman, and all she would do was sit down, and she'd be like completely out of it, just kind of like with her eyes closed doing this. And I'm like, hello, we still have to be on the earth, like you can't just be out. And she was like that for like 8 hours. It's like, this is kind of weird. Right? Yeah, like you're still a human being having an experience here. So, let's get grounded. And that's another thing that I'm really big into is grounding yourself, because so many of us, are living in fear and living in your head, and you're out there and you're, no, just stop. That's why also I like yoga. Because yoga is not about. Yoga is not.
Here we go. We're going to challenge something, because there's somebody else on the channel that was saying that yoga is demonic, or I don't know how it's phrased as far as like letting demons in or something like that. But here we go. Another viewpoint. Like I said, I'll have conversations with anybody about anything. I don't know what to think about the whole yoga thing, but here we go.
Okay.
Velvet loves yoga. We joked about how she letting the demons in.
Yeah, well, then I must be full of demons. Okay, I've been doing yoga since I was 20. I'm 63 now. I just had my birthday on Sunday, and my mom had to pass like exactly a week before my birthday. Thanks, Mom. But I guess I'm never going to forget when she went. So, thanks, Mom. No. So anyhow, where was I going? Yoga. So when I was taking yoga,
you have a lot of them. Go ahead.
So when I was taking yoga, I was.
No, I'm just joking. Just joking. What? I love Velvet. Sorry, I just wanted to make it clear.
Okay. So I was the youngest one in class, and I was probably with a whole bunch of old hippies, actually, to tell you the truth. Old. Now, back in the day, they were probably in their 50s, maybe. And I remember being pregnant, and they would chant to the baby and stuff like that, right? But I remember asking my yoga teacher, because I just fell in love with it. And I probably fell in love with it because when I was younger, I was a figure skater. So a lot of the moves are not similar to skating, but still, skating's a lot of stretching and extension, and that's the same thing with yoga. Yeah. And that will actually take me into belly dance. We'll get there a little bit later. But
was a belly dancer.
Yeah, that's right. So I asked my teacher, I said, hey, where can I go to learn how to teach this? And she said to me, don't bother. There's no money in it. Because nobody was doing yoga at that time. So I used to just kind of do some teaching in my basement, just kind of, just some people that I had met at this workout class that I was going to, and they'd come over and we would do some of that. But it's very grounding. And and then I just got all like weird with hot yoga and all these people running around their little Lululemons with their little teacup dog with them and their little Starbucks, and I just did hot yoga, and I'm like, oh no, you just did bastardized yoga. Now, having said that, Iyengar, who was a very very well known in the yoga community, he used to crank up the temperature in here. So it's not new, by the way. But I found that if I went to the gym and I did a yoga class there, what would happen was people would be running out, not doing the meditation part of it. And yoga is a lifestyle. It's not just an exercise. It covers all kinds of things. It covers about breathing and diet and you name it, right? And like I said, it's a lifestyle. So it's so important to do the meditation at the end of class because you've just stretched your body. Okay, we've worked your body. Now we're working your inner self. We're aligning everything that we just did. It's like the final step. And so many people just skip out on that part, and it is so important. So where am I going after that?
Well, I want to know, do you do like a guided meditation or do you have a mantra, or how do you do it? As far as the meditation when you're closed.
It's usually a guided meditation when you're in class. I've been doing it long enough that I just lay on the floor. Now I learned to meditate, shall we say, on the ground, just lying down. I think that when you lie down, you can just let go of your entire body. You're not worried about any muscles or anything, right? You're just letting go. So, but like I said, that's a very part of the wholeness of it all. And I also think that we've gotten away from the grounding that is supposed to happen when you're in yoga, right? Because it's about bringing the energy up through your body and out. And I mean, we are electrical beings. We have this biofield around us. We're throwing that. If we're doing some sort of a pose and we're stretching our arms out, we're sending energy out there, right? You bring it up through your feet and you put it out. You throw it out there. So it's so important. And I think that it's also easy on the body, right? And it's about accepting your body too. Some days you're going to stretch more than others. There's no goal. The goal is just to be inside, pay attention to what's happening to your body, and being able to tell yourself, if you feel something tight, okay, you know what? I'm just going to let that go while you're holding a pose. Like I did. There was one teacher I went to, and she studied over in India. And we would do like 6 poses. That's it for in a class that was an hour and 15 minutes long, because the last 15 minutes was always meditation. But in that 75 minutes, we only did 6 poses. So we would hold that pose and hold that pose and hold it. And your body at first is really tense and it doesn't want to give in, right? And then after a while, you just, because you're going in, you're going inward and you're just telling yourself to relax. And before you know it, you're doing the pose. So.
Yeah, I used to think yoga's for wusses and women.
Haha. Yeah,
I tried yoga because my back and shit was so bad. And I was like, what the heck is this shit? This shit's so hard. I can't even freaking do this crap. Like planking and stuff, or like just going through the movements. Some of my issues that I've been working through as I've broken up a lot of this tissue and stuff like that. I had no flexibility, and so that I had no ability, and I was always about reps. Well, in reps, you're just doing the movement to utilize the entire muscle, and you don't hold, you don't pause, you don't hold yourself in certain positions, and your body is a different kind of strength. And it blew me away, and it actually was very frustrating being in a room full of a bunch of Sallies.
Sallies. What's a Sally?
I don't know, a bunch of ladies, and they were kicking my ass.
The
And they were
Sheila.
having, and they were, yes, a Sheila, there's a better term for it. But they were kicking my ass, and it was very frustrating.
Oh,
But it was
wow.
also humbling and beautiful. I mean, I'm having fun now, and I was having fun then. But I'm looking around, and I'm like, how are you guys doing this? Like, I can't get my. They're like, you need to get your butt like up in the pose where it was like your butt's kind of up in the air or whatever. They're like, you need your butt up in the air. I can't do it.
The downward facing dog.
Yes, downward facing dog. That's the one. I can't get my butt to rotate upwards. My pelvis is fucked. I have love handles, and my back is messed up. I can't get my butt to move. And that's part of some of the issues that I have is getting that mobility back that I had. It's like crazy. Like when you're a baby, you can like put your leg, they can put your foot back behind your head and you're sucking on your toes and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we get a little bit older. Some of us stay flexible for various reasons, or we have that in us more. But I played hardcore sports where you needed the tension constantly and you needed to be ready to explode always. Right. And I experienced this when I was working in massage therapy. I worked on yogis and I worked on football players. Football players, very hard muscle. Try to push into it and stuff like that. It has nothing but resistance. It's constantly taut and constantly ready for explosion. Yogis, you can get down to the bone and they don't feel no pain. I mean, a yogi that's in shape and not going through any injuries has the ability to handle all that pressure. And when you think about it as a kid, you're like, I used to freaking get in a sleeping bag and go down the stairs. If I did that now, I think I would have to go right to the emergency room. Like our ability to like handle pressure and to bump ourselves against things, hit coffee tables, stuff like that. No problem when you're younger. Older you get, less flexibility, the more everything fucking hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because you're not stretching out your muscles too, right? And you've also injured yourself over the years.
Yes, there's a lot of trauma, not just physical, but emotional trauma.
Yeah. Yeah, right? For sure. I mean, that totally gets trapped in the body. So are you still taking yoga?
I don't take yoga and I don't go through any yoga. I mean, I do certain poses that are
not demonic.
I don't know if I mean, like, we'll just say it. I mean, I love the guy, whatever. Everybody has their opinions. JK is he was saying that or whatnot, and he shared a video, whatnot, and it is what it is. I had someone else was in here. It was like it's a worship of the Hindu gods, or it come from like worshiping like Hindu religion or something like that. I get people have different takes, and that's why we're having discussions and whatnot. But we have different takes, so like we're not letting one dominate more than the other. We're not running narratives. Right. I don't think of it as demonic. It's just I use some of the poses that I remember, but I don't remember a lot of them.
Well, and I will say that is not the first time that I've heard it, nor is it the 10th time that I've heard it. I mean, I've heard it a lot, but so I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I mean, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. It works for me. So there you go. But I also find it interesting because I mean, it is an old listen, the Hindus have been doing it for forever, for long time, and they were all into like a yantra, right? Like a yantra is a symbol, like a mandala, right? Well, what do you think the rose windows are in cathedrals? Like that's like a big mandala. Only, I mean, it goes a little bit further than that. The rose windows are actually quite fascinating. They've ruined them, but and they have quartz crystals in them. People didn't know that. So they vibrate at a certain frequency. But that's a whole other topic.
Right. If you were to like be drawing like freaking satanic symbolism underneath where you were doing it, you were having a seance, maybe you were sacrificing a freaking goat or something like that. Like I've never heard of like these Satanists that get all dressed up in their robes. Not that I know. I've just heard people talk about it, or survivors of the satanic ritual abuse talk about how I mean, you don't hear about them like doing yoga poses in their satanic sacrifices. I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm just saying, like, if it was really like God made us in a way where if we move our body in a certain way, it's demonic. I don't see anywhere in the body, or maybe there's something in the Bible that JK is like leaning on that it says don't do like something, or I don't know. But I think it's intention, like we were talking about earlier, which was kind of the foundation of some of what we were discussing here. Intention, how you use it, what your focus is. I mean, I've heard of like, Christ-centered yoga.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, there's just there's so many different forms of these kinds of things. It's
right.
like some people are saying, some people don't agree. Some people are, a lot of people in here agreeing it's a tool. Intentions matter. How you're doing it matters. So we're having that discussion. I hope people can. People get triggered easily on various things. So
Right.
it is what it is. But I want to have all these discussions.
When people get triggered, that's kind of interesting in itself too, right? Because we have to learn to be open. You have to listen to all sides, and then you make up your own mind. So you shouldn't be triggered by something. You should just take it as new information, and you can either, take it or you can leave it. It doesn't matter. But we shouldn't be so strong in one way or another, because everybody has a different belief system, right? So we have to get past the triggering.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
Well, you said earlier that you don't like labels. I don't particularly like labels. I guess I'm most likely what would be considered a Christian the most, but I don't even like the label. I just call myself like a sinner. I need saving, and that comes from my addiction. I'm not being able to do it myself, no matter how hard I tried. I needed something greater than myself, and the only thing that ever made sense to me was Jesus Christ. But as far as faith goes, or how you live your life, or the journey that you're on, what brings you closer to the Creator or God? How do you perceive your faith in a higher power, if you will?
Well, to me, God is an energy. It's not male or female. That would be silly, because he created it. I don't know.
Right.
Created all of it. So, I just think that it is a big energy, and that would also tie in with my own, again, psychedelic experience that I had. And that to me makes more sense. This free will that they keep saying that we have, I don't know about free will. Do we?
No, right.
I mean, because they seem to be keeping us, under their thumb. So, there's talk of NPCs out there and everything. So where did they come from? And I mean, it's, there's a lot to think about. And we've been lied to so much that, you can't, it's hard to believe anything that's out there. So you just have to kind of go inside and see what feels right for you. But this whole, there's even the yoga terms, and people get freaked out by that. But it all ties in really with what Sabrina talks about too, right? So, there's a yoga called Nada yoga, and Nada is all about breath work, really, and it's about the vibration, and we know that resonance creates matter, right? That's what cymatics is all about. And the root word for nada means to flow. Well, what is flowing through us, right? What's flowing through us? I mean, we're made of a lot of water, right? And sound waves travel 4.5 times faster through water than through air. So, I mean, going back to the sound baths, right? Different frequencies create different patterns, and that all is happening inside your body, even though you can't feel it. It's bringing it all back to the state where it's supposed to be. So, right. Even the words that you speak is a frequency, right? Your voice is a vibration. And what you say too about yourself, or what you think even, is affecting your body. Like,
Right.
I had a friend who kept saying to herself, just kind of in fun, "Oh, I'm so stupid. I should have done this. Oh no, silly me." And I kept on her every time she said something. Stop saying that. Stop saying that. Because you are telling your body, it's repetitive. This is what Trump does, right? Or the media. They repeat, they repeat, they repeat, because then it goes into your psyche and your programming. They are programming you by doing all this repetition, which is what is also happening if you're telling yourself all these bad things about yourself. And even if you want to go to the Bible, what did Jesus say in there? I am what I am, right? That is such a strong statement. And that's what you should be telling yourself. I am intelligent. I am, happy. I'm healthy, whatever it is. But the I am is actually, and in many religions, old religions have talked about the whole I am.
Right.
So, yeah. So you have to be careful with your words, and our language is messed up, man. you know, simple things, legal, lawful,
Right. It's almost like the English language was literally,
yes.
it's like alchemy of language to deceive at the highest levels. Yes.
Exactly.
It makes for the greatest like rap music and songs that we can come up with.
Right?
It's the devil. Anyways, but yes, a lot of the English language, when we talk about like everybody, like I try not to get hardcore about it, because I feel like when someone says like I understand, it's like it's not understand, it's understand.
I always
I don't get crazy about it like back in English class when you said something a little bit off. Like there ain't no word ain't. Like I love the word ain't, and I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
Which I think is actually considered a word now. But back when I was growing up, I'm pretty sure this word ain't a word. And I used to be like, I don't give a crap. I love that word.
Yes, I agree. But again, right? That's because they were teaching us etymology, and now they're not. So if people knew the root words of, and trace them back, it's quite fascinating.
Right.
So
yeah. Was what we know of created initially just with sound?
Well, yeah. And I mean, and what are we hearing about, now? We're hearing a lot about, oh, this is the new normal. Every time you turn around, make America great again. It's that constant, programming so that you get used to things. And this is what I'm saying, is that our entire world has been created by them mostly through media. Media was created for that, right?
Right.
Ain't a word because teacher says it ain't. We said that when I was young.
Yep, I got that too when I was growing up, man. Ain't a word.
Yeah. Well, it is.
The teacher says it ain't.
That's right.
And I agree. Like we've talked about that a little bit. I think it might even been with JK, where we were talking about the studies they've done with water, and you can see the crystallized formations that happen when you feed it positive energy or negative energy. Just saying words to it when people walk by one that's labeled positive, you say an affirmation or something positive to it, like I love you, and then you walk over to the water that's supposed to be negative and say I hate you, you're trash, or whatever it is. And then over time you can see the crystallized formations within the molecules will literally change and reflect whether they were receiving positive or negative frequency.
So now think about being in a relationship where somebody is saying those negative things to you all the time. Right? So you're taking all that in, your body's water and crystalline and all this other stuff, right? And it is just absorbing that and just kind of resonating it more and more. And it's a prayer. What you were saying, like when you talk to your water, or you give it good, like I talk to all my plants. I have my own garden. I have herbs all over the place, and I go out and I tell them how beautiful they are, and I touch their leaves, and every day I try to do that, right? And then they in turn give me nourishment and enjoyment, so it's a cycle. It's about getting in touch with things that matter, because having the latest pair of shoes, or whatever it might be, the fancy car, it doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter. So back to the water, when you're like, that's why people would pray over their food, right? And a prayer is a mantra in yogic terms, right? And even when you're in church, what do you say? Amen. How many times do you say amen? And that's a mantra. So, there's different ways to look at everything. So whether it be Christian or yoga or whatever it is, right? It's all different. So is there anything else you want to say about this? Because I'm going to tell you how I kind of slipped into belly dance.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Do you not have a term for like the faith that you have? You keep away from just all labels and prescribing to any.
Yeah, no, I don't really. I had heard some labels. Some Audrey Hepburn, I believe, was into just believing that God is in all the plants and all the good stuff. Oh, I mean, he's also in the bad stuff, though, right? So God is everything,
even the bad.
Yeah, well, yeah. Is there not just one creator? That's one thing that when I was studying religions, like I was over in Bali and I talked to somebody there about their religion because they're Hindus. And it was fascinating because there's they have statues everywhere. And I asked them, I said, okay, but what do you believe in? Like, what kind of a God? Oh, no, there's only one God. Only one God. And all these are, little sub gods, I guess.
The way you don't believe in one creator.
I did.
Maybe little gods. I got to grab some water real quick. You can keep talking.
Yeah. No, I do believe that there is one God. I just don't think that it is how it is portrayed. Well, I think that God is in everything.
Even
good,
evil,
bad, and otherwise.
Torture, rape, all that stuff is God.
Sorry?
Is rape, torture, and all that kind of stuff, you see that as God?
Well,
it's tough, right?
Well, if there's one creator, something created us, something created the world. I don't know what that is. Like I said, we could all be creations of, I don't know, some not an ET, but you know what I mean? I mean, is that, I don't know. I don't know. But it would make sense to me that if God created all, then he created good and bad. Now, obviously I do not agree with rape and torture. But do I think that that's demonic? I don't know. I think those are people that are messed up. Like, I want to know what their childhood was like. I want to know. I just want to know different things about them and why they think that, because I think that a real person of God would not, like, I used to say this all the time about movies, right? Watch a werewolf or a vampire movie or something. I'm like, who even thinks about this stuff? Like, I don't think that a true person of God would even have those thoughts. So where do these weird ideas come from? I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Do you believe in demons?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's safe. I mean, not safe. It's a good answer when you don't know. I say I don't know. I have my spiritual faith. What I've come to, I feel like it made the most sense to me in a world that really does feel sinful and fallen and corrupted and controlled by those that corrupt even more. It made makes sense to me. And I needed a savior when I was struggling with addiction and those kinds of things, that it was greater than me. And so I've come to my various conclusions, but I never wanted this channel to like just become like, I always, even when I struggled with my faith and I ran away from it and I've dabbled in other faiths and other beliefs, always wanted to believe that I could have conversations with people of other faiths. I just got into it with a bunch of people that are part of the Church of Satan. And I'm just going to say that I don't, like you brought up mega earlier. It all started because I said mega really freaked me out when I realized that the 5th degree in the Church of Satan, which is the highest, is also mega. But they say, oh, it's Latin and it's has nothing to do with mega and blah blah blah. And most of them are probably like leftists and stuff like that. But they say we're not political and we have no affiliation and blah blah blah. And so, anyways, I got into it with them, and then they were saying that they were correcting me, and I was like, well, you don't really have any like idea as to whether or not the CIA or Trump or these guys used that and maybe created a psyop with it, or connected it because of that, or whatever it is. But either way, I don't have respect for like these people that have those beliefs. A lot of them claim that they're even atheists, and then they just have this satanic, carnal, freaking whatever way of philosophy, I guess. And I can't stand it because there's so many people that I've seen come out. And this is my take. I tried to have a conversation. I wanted to bring one of them on or like go on their show. One of them had some kind of a podcast, and they wouldn't do it because they said that I immediately am an idiot because I tied mega to mega 5th degree. Whatever. I'm not even saying we can just separate that. I said I don't have absolute proof or no. It just made me uncomfortable as a coincidence. Anyways, there's a lot of people that go through human trafficking that have legit gone through satanic ritual abuse. And so when you worship something that was created by some fucking idiot that changed his name, and he was Anton LaVey, and he made up bullshit about himself, and he got in with celebrities and stuff like that. Fuck that guy. Fuck the founding of the Church of Satan. Fuck all that shit. And anything that wants to be associated with satanic, when there's legit, for whatever reason, whether or not, oh, that's not us. That's not us. Yes, a lot of Christians do that stuff. People that call themselves Christians, a lot of people that are of all kinds of faiths participate in something that when the survivors come out of it, they call it satanic ritual abuse. So I don't want anything to do with that crap. But I was trying to have at least a conversation. It probably wouldn't have gone well, but I wanted to be open to hearing that side of things and be able to confront them with it. And they made all the excuses in the world. So fuck them.
Okay, so then that brings up, did these people, I mean, they're people. So they've just taken a different direction because of their belief system. Now, was that belief system their own, or knowing what we know now through Sabrina, have they been given those thoughts to be corrupt in that way? I mean, that could be what's creating these demons. Now, personally, I think, like, people talk about the Antichrist and all this. I think it's artificial intelligence, which, by the way, I will not use AI because people need to understand what that word is. And it's artificial intelligence. It's fake intelligence, people, right? And we've just so used to using the word, the acronym AI, that we forget what it actually stands for. And, wake up. Anyhow. Well, I had to say that.
What about this?
Oh no, I love my hair in there. Can I have that hair? Honestly, I tried to do that today, and what did I get? I just got like this big old mess. Like I said, I'm trying to, part of me is like wanting to grow it out. I've got like 8 months worth of root here, but I mean, caveman.
Yeah, I thought that came out really well, but it's I just got low end garbage AI for the most part. Sometimes it comes up with some pretty good stuff, but I'm willing to have that discussion too. At one point, somebody, and then we never had the discussion. Anyways, they said that I'm worshiping the Nephilim god by even dabbling with AI, and I'm like, man. Here's the thing, and I thought about doing a video because now all of a sudden it's becoming demonic, like painted as the devil, like like yoga would be or something like that. Like I don't have the intentions of using this for satanic purposes. Like Sabrina says, I'm not putting subliminals, but I respect, Velvet, Sabrina, and the people that say that they don't use AI. Well, maybe not use AI, but like on purpose you're using AI. just
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
Googling, using Google fingers, as Sabrina says, or autocorrect as artificial intelligence, or when you go out in public and you're being surveilled, or facial recognition, or your thumbprint to open your phone, or your face to open your phone. If you turn all that stuff off, you're still participating in artificial intelligence in so many different ways that people don't think about, but they see something like this, and Booma San is of the devil. And so that's why I'm willing to have all these conversations. But I'm willing to have that one if people will do it respectfully and not talk shit behind my back. Now, I respect that you don't purposely use AI. And that's one of the questions about whether or not this is real, or whether or not AI helped create this history that makes us believe that that has something to do with who we are.
Right.
When it all could be a fucking psyop by an artificial higher intelligence. I don't freaking know.
Could be. You know, I also understand that North America is a lot older than what they're telling us. So, you know, and that, well, isn't there some talk about it being the real Egypt or something?
Yeah, there's some people saying that when you talk about inversion and all that kind of stuff, that some people in the chat know more. Some of you that might be in here, we're talking about how that where they say Jerusalem and Egypt and all those different places are is actually some of that is the Holy Land's over here in the North America, but they never wanted us to know, and that's why people weren't here so much. And so I don't know. I don't freaking know. There's that one that all of a sudden I had never thought about before, and all of a sudden people start pointing out certain geological stuff, and it's like, oh man, here we go again. What do you think?
You know, listen, they've covered up so much. When I was in school, I wanted to be an archaeologist, actually, originally. And my father said to me, "You want to go and dig in the dirt in some foreign country?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually I do." Now I just dig in the dirt in a different way, right? I grow things. But because when I was going through school and they were giving us that crap about how they built the pyramids, I'm like, come on, guys, like that doesn't even make sense to me. So, and you can't repeat it today. Look at our buildings today. They're boring. Everything is gray. Do you notice that too? We have no color unless you go to the islands or something. It seems to be just boring. Gray, black. Even our cars are gray, black, white. You know, you get the odd red one or blue
like the more
one.
you get into like the technological cities, the concrete jungle, if you will.
Yeah.
That's what you have. Other than the billboards, I think they do it specifically for that purpose. If you go into freak places like Las Vegas, New York, all you have is well, Vegas is a little different because it's a bunch of special like buildings and stuff like that. You go into like the main cities like Chicago and New York and stuff like that. It's all the same kind of architecture of these gray and black and white ish colored buildings, but then the flashy like marketing of whatever brands and stuff everywhere.
Yeah. And not the beautiful buildings that they have over in Europe.
Right.
And they're certainly not building any pyramids. Like, you know, so yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Now, what about that video were you going to show that video?
Yeah. How do you want to mix this in? Because this touches into like Epstein. This is going to take us into like Courtney Love and some wild stuff. Do you want to get to the belly dancing before that or after?
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter?
Nah.
So I don't get on Instagram quite as much as the other ones because I had been kicked off Instagram for a long time, and I don't trust that they're not going to just kick me off. That's why I don't spend a lot of time moving stuff into the Instagram, but I have the kitties and stuff like that.
I was going to say, you have the kitties.
Right. How can they kick me off again and ban me permanently like they did for years for putting the kitties up? So I just keep the kitties and stuff in there. But I'll go over there once in a while, and Velvet sends me stuff on there. And this video, and some of you will have to let me know if you've ever heard of this guy. I don't know what to quite think of him yet. It's but anyways, it's going to get into a conversation that I think is interesting. She shared this with me. I think it was one of the more recent ones, just maybe yesterday, that you shared it with me. And I never heard of this guy, but I thought this is an interesting take. Let's look at that, and then we'll discuss.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's
do it.
Kurt Cobain was killed because he figured out Courtney Love was trafficking children with Jeffrey Epstein, Prince Andrew, and Harvey Weinstein. Courtney Love's name was the only one with emphasis next to it in Jeffrey Epstein's little black book. Her name was square, no one else's was. People have done deep dives into the Epstein files and found out that there is a code name for Courtney Love, and it is Dana. She's going by Dana within the Epstein files. Not only that, Kurt Cobain used child imagery and used the song Frances Farmer Will Have Her Revenge in Seattle as a allusion to him finding out that there was child sacrifice as well as child trafficking going on behind the scene. He named their second compilation project Incesticide, creating a new word because Dave Grohl would constantly refer to Kurt Cobain as his brother. The baby on the cover of the Incesticide album also has his head split open, which refers to the dashing of the rocks, where children were dashed against rocks in the Old Testament. Also, the child on the cover of the Nirvana's Nevermind album refers to them drowning children as well as boiling them alive. This is one of the ways in which they sacrifice children to Moloch, to Baal. The feds were so ingrained in Kurt Cobain's life, his childhood best friend growing up, his name was Dylan Carlson. Dylan Carlson was a Fed whose father worked for the Department of Defense. This person is the person who gave Kurt Cobain the shotgun that he allegedly killed himself with. This also relates to the MK Ultra programming that the Grateful Dead helped with by trafficking LSD, which is also documented in FBI documentation and CIA documentation, and the Grateful Dead were managed by Courtney Love's father. In fact, this is an image of Courtney Love on the back of one of the Grateful Dead albums. This is a document from the FBI stating that the DEA is well aware that the Grateful Dead is trafficking drugs out of San Francisco. Nirvana was likely being used as a front to launder money for drug trafficking and human trafficking, and Kurt found out about it. Doc McGee, who was the manager of Kiss and John Bon Jovi, was arrested in 1982 for this same thing, trafficking drugs. This actually led to the end of the Cold War. Doc McGee escaped a lifetime in prison was by throwing a massive music festival called the Moscow Music Festival, which the CIA used to infiltrate CIA operatives overseas into the Soviet Union. This is all government documentation, by the way. Like, this is all, you can find this yourself. We know that Courtney Love's father and David Geffen were roommates because of a 1995 interview with the San Francisco Chronicle when Hank Harrison, Courtney Love's father, states that they were. The Epstein files show that David Geffen was friends with Epstein. Kurt was going to walk away. He named his daughter Frances. Frances in French translates to free man. Kurt Cobain would have been a free man after he walked away, ended it with Nirvana, would have been on his own thing, but then they got him. You want even more details, fully sourced, by the way, because I don't make things up. I know it's hard for some of you boomers to wrap your head around the fact that there's more to reality than Jewish television. You can go watch this video.
I'd love the end of that.
Right. Calling out the boomers and stuff. So some of this stuff, like the way that he does, his videos is probably it's genius as far as capturing the eye. But then he does longer videos too. I went and checked out his YouTube and was checking him out because I'd never heard of this guy. His YouTube channel has a little over 30,000, so he's not a huge name. But the way he kind of does this stuff, it's And then there was some I looked in some of the comments. Somebody said that Dana was the name of a stockbroker in the 90s that was connected to Epstein. However, I'd have to look into his source material, but I've always thought for the longest time that he didn't kill himself. Kurt Cobain we had so much from just a little that I will even talk about it, and then we can get into whatever parts of that you want. But he would not have had the capacity to even pull a trigger with how much drugs were in his system. He would have just been drooling, passed out, might have even died of a damn overdose. He was getting clean. He was just coming out of rehab not that long before that. So there were some reasons to believe that he was doing something. And I did catch a video. It was shared at one point. I came across it, and he was talking about some building, I think over in Seattle. And he was like, human trafficking is going on over there. And I was like, what the fuck? I had never heard Kurt Cobain talk about this stuff. And he was complaining. He was out on this balcony with somebody. I don't know. I don't even remember who it was, but he was talking about, he was calling out all the abominations that some of these guys are doing. And so that, I had never seen anything about this information to this degree, but I had seen this clip of Kurt Cobain calling out the abominations they're doing to children. So there might be something to it, but I don't know. I mean, Courtney Love seems about as evil as can get. And I'm pretty sure she was at Chris Cornell's freaking funeral or whatever. And there was a lot of weird characters around that one too. And she seems to be very connected to a lot of these celebrity entertainment system deaths that seem like suicided murders.
Yes, which is what's happening, I think, with the scientists right now too, right?
Right. So you have the scientist, and then you have David Wilcock,
Yeah.
and then you have that going on.
Right.
What's happening?
And we know, I mean, the music industry with Chester Bennington and
Yeah.
those. I mean, come on, they didn't die either. And I often wonder about Whitney Houston. Now I know that she was into drugs and that, but it's just kind of weird. I mean, why are all these people like dying with suicide, or like Michael Hutchins with they said it was what he was jacking off or something, right? And I mean, come on.
Who was this one?
Michael Hutchins from NXS.
That was also Carradine. Remember that guy?
No.
He's like God, I don't know how to spell his name. He was an actor, but he was
David Carradine?
Yeah, David Carradine. So they were saying that he was doing the choking thing while jerking off and messed up. That's the story that they're trying to claim, is that he was, apparently orgasm is better when you're being choked, blah blah blah. So he was doing that in his closet and went too far and ended up hanging himself.
Okay, so when did that happen? Was that a long time ago?
That was a while ago.
Okay, so isn't that weird though? Is that we have a couple of them that happen to die. I think they call it autoerotic asphyxiation or something like that, right? So now we have these people and they just happen to die of the same thing at the same time, and all these car accidents that happen, and there's no way that all this is happening.
So what do you think is happening? Because it could be psyops. It could be covering up from people for stop them from talking. I mean, those kinds of things.
That's what I think it is.
That's what you think it is?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that they found out about stuff or wouldn't go along with their programming and their blackmail. So, see ya.
Juxta's here.
Yeah.
Murder is murder.
Yep.
Juxta probably knows about David Carradine and some of these murders.
I'm sure he does.
I don't know if he's looked into the scientists. I asked him about David Wilcock, and he didn't want anything to do with David Wilcock. Go Intel Pro kind of a guy.
Okay. Well, yeah, he was kind of weird. Like he looked like an alien.
I've said, whatever. I feel bad for the family and all those people that are attached to it. It's very weird circumstances. I think he made a 911 call and said, "I'm sorry, you have to see this," and then apparently blew his brains out in front of cops. I don't freaking know, but I don't wish that on anybody. I'm not saying that, but that guy was a fucking liar for like a living. It's like horrible. Oh yeah, Robin Williams is another one that allegedly went into his room and hung himself. Juxta knows.
No, there's a lot of them. So to me, it only makes sense that they know something, or could be part of their the Obama chef,
which no one fucking talks about anymore. Like, give me a break, man. That one should be like everywhere, but of course,
the Obama chef.
Yeah, the Obama chef.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at the Epstein thing too. I mean, come on. Oh, the cameras just weren't working that time?
For 1 minute?
Yeah, they can tell you where you are like every minute of the day, but they can't come on. It's just ridiculous. And they're just thinking that people are stupid. It's like 9/11 and thinking that a plane actually flew into the building. I mean, come on. And then they're blaming some guy who's living in a cave. And then they captured him, but they took him out to sea and got rid of him that way. Really? How convenient. Like,
right.
People, you have something called a brain. Like, put it together, put the puzzle pieces together. It just doesn't make sense.
Right. I think that's a joy for the cult, is that people won't en masse. They either won't care or they just won't critically think. And
so now what is that caused from? Is that caused from, vaccines? Is that caused from the stuff they're pumping in the air? Or are they NPCs? I don't know.
Right.
Could be.
A new word because
I didn't mean to turn on that. What I wanted to show, Roman Soda was asking for more information. So this guy is Izzy and Griffin, and you can go to like his YouTube, and then he has his longer ones, and then you can go and you can find his source information if you wanted to look into it. I still haven't looked into all of it, but also didn't know that Courtney Love's father managed the Grateful Dead, and then I'm pretty sure that's Tucker Carlson, isn't it?
I don't know. I can't see.
Because I think he does another video where he shows that Tucker Carlson's dad was involved in some of this stuff, and that I think they're pretty sure that's Tucker Carlson, anyways.
Well, I saw a video years ago where Tucker was really pushing the 9/11 thing. So, oh yeah, that's what happened, and I'm like,
right. Even when I was trying to believe that like Trump was a good guy and that all these guys like Sean Hannity, because he used to wear the Punisher pin, and I got sucked into the fucking Q-op. And so I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I started seeing all those videos because I never paid attention to any of this shit. All I cared about was doing what I needed to do to like get by in life, survive depression and anxiety, party on the weekends, do the schoolwork I needed to do, hang out with friends, be with my, freaking partner, like in my relationships. Like I didn't give a shit about any of this stuff. And then you start seeing the videos where Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson are literally badgering people trying to say that the government did this, they're involved in it, and they were just shitting on them and making them look stupid on live TV. And then you find out who's Tucker Carlson's dad is, and involved in all that stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh. And then it just goes on with all of the freaking like mainstream hosts. I mean, Tucker Carlson might have left Fox, but he's still the same thing that he was. And now InfoWars is done, but now it's called the Alex Jones Show. So Alex Jones goes nowhere. He's still just the same. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, I'm surprised that guy hasn't had a heart attack.
I know, right? I just don't get it. And I don't know what to think. Maybe was he Bill Hicks? Was he swapped out? I don't know. Around the 95, 96 time is if you go back, and I did a video on this, and other people have broken it down, but there's quite the change of a slender, well-spoken, beautiful voice. He sings a little bit in this clip when he was just doing a radio show, and he was Tucker Carlson, or he was Alex Jones. And then all of a sudden, Alex Jones is a little chubbier, and he comes out, and he still sounded a little bit like this guy. And then over time, he has this gruffiness that came into his voice. Like, where the heck did that come from?
Right.
It was a part of like the plastic surgery, and then they nipped his freaking vocals so he didn't sound like Bill Hicks as much anymore. I don't know. Like, what the?
Well, going back to movies again, do you remember that movie Dave? Dave was about the president. He had been shot or something. He was in a coma. So they had like a lookalike stand in for him. So
right. Oh, yes. I remember that.
Right. So is this like Trump? Trump now isn't really like the Trump that was first term. Now, having said that, he is a little bit, because he's the one that brought in the whole vax and the COVID and the remdesivir and all that other crap that was no good. But, oh no, he's never going to have a war. I'm the only president that hasn't had a war. And now look at him. So, you just wonder if these people get replaced. Do they get sent someplace? And oh, you haven't seen that series yet, right?
Which one?
That I was telling you about, The Prisoner.
The Prisoner.
Yeah, because this is what they would do. They would take, okay, so what I just referred to there's this old series from 1967 that I just watched. It's called The Prisoner, and it's English. It's crazy because it's everything that Sabrina's talking about now. It's hokey because it's not big budget or anything. I mean, it's very typical 1967 production. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's about this guy, and they're trying to extract information from him, and they're using lights to, to control him, and just everything. He wakes up, he doesn't know where he is. And so it makes me think, are they doing this to Trump and to Alex Jones and who knows who else, right? Do they take them and just do some sort of mind control on them or alter them somehow? Could be.
Right. Human augmentation. I don't know where they're at with stuff like consciousness transfer or whatnot, but I mean, you can see, you go to Vegas and there's 1,000 Michael Jackson impersonators, Elvis impersonators. You could get people that would be able to just become that person. Paul McCartney arguably replaced with Fall McCartney, and it worked out, and no one ever questioned it except for conspiracy theorists.
Well, do you remember when Fauci was out during the whole COVID thing, and he came back and he was fatter and shorter? Do you remember seeing that?
Right. And so then you'll have the Q people that'll say that's proof that it's all the movie and the white hats are showing us. Right. And then you'll have, the people that are like, I guess, I don't know what group I would necessarily be in or whatever, but it's all a fucking movie. It's all psyop. It's all fake and gay. It's all theater while they're doing what they want to do, which is implement the next phase of whatever plans that they have for humanity.
So yes, Juxta just mentioned that Danger Man. Is that a series or a movie or?
I think Danger Man's a series, right? Juxta, have you seen The Prisoner? Might be one that you'd like.
Yeah, The Prisoner was crazy. And like I said, the main character doesn't talk very much, but he'll just like throw out something that you're just kind of like, whoa, because he knows what they're doing and he's trying to kibosh, or he plays into the game for a little bit and then he like gets them.
So 1960, even earlier than The Prisoner.
That looks
Danger Man. A thriller.
That guy, he almost looks like the other one. View from the Villa, Time to Kill. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that and watch that one. Yeah, that almost looks like the same guy.
Is it the same guy?
No, I don't think so, but it looks very similar.
What's the guy's name?
Yeah,
Sean
Billy.
Drake.
Yeah, Billy Shears is Paul McCartney, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, can you bring up The Prisoner again?
The Sgt. Pepper was the idea that they created alter egos, but Billy Shears is his alter ego. Paul McCartney's that is, but that was talking about how it's an idea that he was pointing to the fact that he had been replaced.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
The Prisoner is MI6. But is it put out there for a purpose to tell us certain truths or to lead our consciousness in a certain way? That's what I never know about some of this stuff. Sabrina does not like the idea of predictive programming, but I think that they love to mock us and like fuck with our minds,
Yeah. And they do. They put a lot of predictive programming out there. Oh, yeah. There you go. I grew up watching
this is what the boomers were fed. Oh, there's something special at the end. Have you watched the whole thing then?
I have. Yeah. Oh, the last 2 episodes were pretty weird. I mean, the whole series is kind of weird, but very interesting. But like I said, when I first started watching it, I didn't realize, like I knew it was old, but then one day I Googled it. Yes, I used AI. And it's 1967. I know. 1967. I was like, what? Like they're telling us back then in 1967 what Sabrina's been talking about. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
so it's been going on for a long time, and we're just finding out about it. And of course, by the time we find out about it, it's already old news, and they've already done it. So
right, humiliation is voting. I know. I don't know if I'll ever vote. I don't think I'll ever vote again. It's part of their ritual.
I think I've voted twice in my life.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just never believed in it. And I know more about, because I'm up here in Canada. And
Canada, man, you guys have so many names.
We're done.
You're done.
Yeah. Commie Canada, whatever you want to call it. But I know more about your politics than I know about my own. That's pathetic, but it's true. And then it's funny because Americans don't know very much about Canada.
Right.
I remember Jim Carrey doing a skit once, and he's talking like an old Eskimo or an old Indian, right? Talking about we live in igloos and
was it just being a dumbass just to make you guys out to do something else, or was he?
No, it's just the perception, right? Like I remember being a little girl and we would drive down to Florida almost every year. And in Georgia, I remember there was somebody there, a young girl that I had met about my age. And she was asking me, like, she was like stunned that we lived in houses and that we had summers and, you know, it wasn't cold all year round with snow. And, you know, it's like, okay, you know where New York State is? Well, we're just like right across, like we're right there. So does New York get summer? Yeah, well, so do we. You know,
I know, right? I don't
Canada's
know.
Vietnam, huh?
Yep, Canada is Vietnam. Cuba is Mexico. They're all Hunger Games, as juxtaposition says.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Canada at all. I mean, I used to go up there just to party. Like that was like my extent of Canada. Now, when I was younger, we went up to, I think I told you, Penticton and did some like go-karts, and I'd never done go-karts, and they were freaking awesome. And then we did a bunch of water parks, and that was like, I'll never forget those, that trip to Canada. That was fun. And then the rest of them was having a fake ID at 17 that said I was 19 so that we could go to the bars and party. And so that was some wild times.
Yeah, I remember that.
And now I don't even want to go through the freaking border.
Well, you know, I would love to come and see Sabrina at one of her classes, but I'm like, well, no, I don't know.
Right.
Again, like you, right? I don't know if I want to go across the border.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard horror stories.
Right.
About, you know, they want to look through your phone to see if you said anything bad about Trump and all this other, and they question people what they think about Trump at the border, and I'm like,
are they doing that shit now?
I've heard that.
Right.
But you know,
gosh,
I don't know.
The surveillance state is slowly coming into the public view. As Juxta and some of these people would say, it's already here with the Ring doorbells and Alexa and all the smart cameras and smart shit that's all over the place.
LEDs.
LEDs are helping boost the signal, as our bodies are helping boost the signal. What's up? Some of you people are coming in very late. But yes, we got a Canadian here. So what, you got any questions about Canada? Bring them on. But where else were we going? Belly dancing. Fuck.
Dancing. You want to go back to that? Well, I was just going to tie that in.
We didn't get into it. How did we get transitioned into this? So,
well, I was just going to tie it in with the whole yoga thing, right? It's the same kind of thing. Did you know that belly dance was originally created for women? It was performed by women for women. And it was...
Where was this at?
Over in the Arabian countries.
Arabian? Okay.
Yeah. So it helps women give birth.
Oh, I was thinking Arabian, lesbian. That makes sense.
No.
But I didn't know that. That's crazy. So the belly dancers would like give them a visual and help loosen up their own body and think like positive, like ways to move so the baby would come out.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah, because there's a lot of hip movement in it, right? And with that, you're moving all the organs in your lower extremity or in your lower body, right? But it's also very earth connected. You know, you perform belly dance in bare feet. So, you know, that's why I was attracted to it too. You can help with getting pregnant.
I can help with the getting pregnant part, but the baby part.
I'm done with that.
Done with that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Those lusty hips. So do you?
I know, and everyone's thinking of Shakira right now.
You said that you went out and did belly dancing for 2,500 people on stage.
Yeah. Oh, I was so nervous. I completely forgot my routine. So
you just winged it?
Yeah. Well, I just kind of shook a lot because I'm completely, okay. So this is what he said to me. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. You're going to be on a pedestal and the house is going to go dark. There's just going to be one spotlight on you. And I'm like, what? And he said, I'm going to slip off. I'm going to do a costume change. And when I'll meet you back here, maybe 3/4, halfway through. I'm like, what? You want me to go on a pedestal in front of all these people and a spotlight on me? Like, I'm like, ugh. Right. So I did the first part of it, and then after that, I completely like forgot what I was doing. So anyhow,
So how long were you on the stage or the pedestal?
well, I only did it to one song. I was only there for one song, but I went to 2 different venues with him. But yeah, and it was a packed house, and it was like it was terrifying. But it's always good to do those kind of things, right? Get outside of your comfort zone. So yes, I did it. Did I do it well? No. Does it matter? No. I had the experience. Good for me.
What? Well, did you get a bunch of cheers and people throw like flowers on stage? Like, how does it work?
No.
What?
If they were gonna throw,
Right.
listen, it was an Elvis impersonator, right? A tribute artist, I should say.
You should have done some Elvis moves in between, like the belly thing, and then it would have really like fired him up.
Okay, the moves that you were just doing, that's like Saturday Night Fever, honey. That's
Well, I don't know.
not Travolta.
I can't do it sitting down in a chair, I guess. What is the Elvis? Where he does the shake and then he does the dance thing, and then what's
Right? Yeah, move those legs.
Right. It was always the hips that he moved.
Yeah, it was all about the hips. Right.
Right.
So, whatever. Anyhow, yeah, that was an experience. So, but again, it's why I like it because and a lot of the warm-ups for yoga or for belly dance are yoga based. Because it's all stretching. Yoga does a lot of hip work, opening up the hips and things like that. Well, and that worked with belly dance. And hips don't lie.
Guess it makes sense.
Oh, my hips don't lie. Yeah.
You like Shakira? You think she's a man?
I don't know. Did you ever see her She-Wolf video where she's in a cage?
Oh no, I don't think so.
It's pretty. Oh well, you have to watch it. It's pretty hot. But I mean, it's kind of weird too because she's in a cage. But
she totally could be a dude though.
Okay, like who's a dude and who's not? I mean, who knows anymore?
I know. I mean, it's just a conversation. Maybe it's just all COINTELPRO bullshit, but
could be. Although, I don't know. Like, there's like Barbara Bush. Okay, sorry.
Right, I know. There's some where it's like especially the older ones before photography got really good, and before cameras had like 4K and like even really good, quality or whatever you want to say, to the point where you like couldn't get away with like. It was probably always one of those things like people be at parties and they whisper something but not say anything about that royal bitch. Like that royal bitch is as a penis, definitely, right?
Well, I mean,
you're gonna get your head chopped off,
right? So you start looking at some of these first ladies, the Barbara Bushes, and then you've got like Big Mike. And then you've got Melania, who looks much different than she does when she was little. I mean, her eyes, like she kind of looks like she could be an alien. She does look a little.
Well, I mean, Barron's like 7 feet. What? He's freaking like he looks like he'd be like a tall white. I mean, I don't know if there are things that are tall white. I'm just saying, like he's tall white.
Right.
Charlie's a belly dancer too. Ooh, we need to get Charlie and Velvet together. Talk about the belly dancing, reminiscent of the days where you just move those organs, and we can get some people moving.
And I always wanted to do ballet, and a lot of.
I think Charlie did ballet, right? Yes, as a retired.
That's what he says. Retired ballet dancer. And a lot of figure skaters take ballet. Again, the same kind of reason. Melania's a dude. Well.
Manlania.
Melania. What?
Well, he says that Melania is a dude, but I've heard Melania referred to as Manlania.
Okay.
But yes, the ballet dancer and the belly dancer together. Maybe
that
do a little
would
bit
be
of
interesting. We could what could we call that? Belly ballet.
I'll get my dad bod, even though I'm not a dad, my dad bod-ish look going with some belly dancing.
As Belly Dorian.
we try to have some fun in here, before we can't have any more fun, before we can't say anything that they don't want us to say, or they shut us down and put us in the cubicles and our kill boxes, and we can't communicate with one another unless we have enough tokens, and then it's still, I don't know.
Well, okay, so let's not put that out there.
Oh yes, words have, but at the same time, that's one of the things to discuss. Not for this show, because we're already getting pretty late. But you can't just think it away, or by not thinking about it, it doesn't come into existence. Let's say it like that.
Okay, or do you create?
Go ahead.
What? Or do you create your own reality? So if you
can create your own reality, then free will definitely exists. But you don't know if we have free will. So how can you say that?
Well, maybe we need to try. Because if you think about it from an energetic point of view, and if everybody's having the same thoughts and it all kind of goes down that way, right? So if we can turn the thoughts around, and maybe that's what's happening right now by all this information coming out. And because there's a lot of people that are bucking the system right now, and they're doing their own thing, and they're creating new ways. So maybe there's, as a human being, we want to have a little bit of hope somewhere, right?
I'm not against hope.
Yeah.
I'll call that a lot of what I call hopium, which I believe is false hope. It's when you're pushing the psyops and the narratives that are definitely not true, like Trump is king of the universe and king of the world, and everybody capitulated to him, and that the military has us under control, and it's all a movie, and everything is about to go to the golden age where we're all rich and handsome and beautiful and live forever, or whatever the fuck they want to say, that kind of stuff. But, and I have my faith in God. My faith is in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we have this conversation, my question is are we creating our own reality, or have they got it to the point where they are nudging us to the degree where the mass, like we talked about, NPCs have been brought up, and the people that are just never going to wake up, sheep, or whatever you want to call them, normies.
Mm-hmm.
If that many of the collective are controlled, do you think that there's a certain percentage of us that would theoretically have to be on this same page in order for us to consciously or to whatever it is manifest into this reality that would go against the system that is in play?
Well, I think there's a lot of factors going into that, right? Especially that we're so far down the path of being manipulated, and we have been manipulated for a very long time.
Yes.
Which makes me think that there's no free will. but I still cling to the hope that there is, and again, from an energetic point of view, like, yes, see, the masses are actually, sorry, they're stupid. They're not plugged into what you and I are talking about.
Right.
They're not. I mean, my father, I tried to talk to him about the pyramids and how the pyramids work, and he's just like, okay. He's like, I don't understand a word that you're saying. So it is not real unless it's on the news.
Right.
And there's a lot like him, my sister's on the fence. She's kind of, well, yeah, but when I bring up something, and I said, well, okay, well, that's a good viewpoint, so she's vaxxed. I actually say that to people, right? Like, oh, you sound vaxxed.
It's true though,
right? Because I do think that they're maybe a little bit further on in the manipulation zone than what those of us that aren't. But then again, I think that it doesn't matter. I think that they're sending it out through every way. So like Sabrina says, right? Are you breathing? So maybe it's happening to all of us. But I think more, like I said, are further along than others.
Right. I mean, like some people have questioned whether or not like we're gonna come to another reset of complete, you know, resetting of whatever they bring us back to. If they take us back into believing these kinds of things, some people would argue that all of the religions of the world have been created by an artificial intelligence or for purposes that lead the narratives forward in humanity. I'm willing to add some of these discussions, but it's where the hope gets, for me, kind of taken out of it. I just don't, if there is a creator that has any love within them, which how can we have this ability to like believe in love unless it's just complete freaking like, is it we're in a situation that's so bad that we've been able to create an association that is a fantasy to keep us within hell, keep us within this prison planet, whatever this is, that is a byproduct of dealing with nonstop pain and suffering and death. I don't know, man. Like, if there's a creator that is love, how could the creator not want to communicate truth to us? That's been one of the things that I weigh.
Well, we've been told that the creator is love, but would the creator have? See, I have a problem with the whole God thing being judgmental, and you're going to be judged when you pass away, and we've given this person we call God human emotions, and I don't know, to me that doesn't really make sense.
So you don't think that people should be judged? You don't think that that people that live a life of corruption, crime, rape, torture, human trafficking, selling other children, whatever, live a full life of that, should be judged and punished accordingly?
Well, but
It's tough,
no,
right?
not really.
I mean, you could, but okay. If a dog that you love, this is the old Yeller, I guess, dilemma, if you will.
Old Yeller, yeah.
Old Yeller, just best
Mhm.
damn dog that you could imagine. Old Yeller, best damn dog in the world, whatever that song was. Either way, gets rabies, defending you, gets bit by a wolf, whatever, and then wants to rip your face off because it's no longer the same thing that it was. Do you not put that dog down?
Okay, but you're talking about a human thing. What? And I believe that God is above all that.
Right. So, like, I guess so. The old Yeller, in the sense of being judged, wouldn't be judged for becoming the demon. So, if you're looking at, so you look at like some of these people, even like Obama and Hillary, and some of these people, it's argued that from a very beginning they had no chance, or they would have been killed. Right.
Obama?
So yeah, so like Obama's not like an old Yeller or whatever, but I guess I'm trying to get to like how do we separate some of these people that do evil when they've been bred to do evil? How do you think of that? Like in this world, like in a human sense, we need to bring justice to them, correct?
Well, I think that this world is full of duality, right? That's what this world is all about. I would like to think that there's a place where there isn't that. Okay, so if there's duality, then there has to be those kind of people in this realm that we're living in, that are bad, so we can experience good, right? It's the yin and the yang of everything, of life. So I still don't think that there's punishment. I think maybe that's how we are experiencing things, is through good, bad, love, hate, whatever it might be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with some of these things, transitioning from the old Yeller idea to the other one. I mean, I just wanted to talk about, even if, like, say, I don't know how to give them the opportunity. And I don't know what to think of, like, say, for instance, a Kathy O'Brien anymore, because I think she's still under mind control. Not that I think she's like the enemy or whatever. I think she's under mind control still. But she talked about being in hunting parties, and she talked about being in hunting parties with, like, say, George Bush Jr. I don't know if this is even true anymore, what to think about some of these characters. But the idea, even if like we're just saying a hypothetical, let's say a person that actually went through the horrors of human hunting and being hunted down by these elites that are just psychopaths. And then they also put in their young, their own children into these hunting parties. And obviously they don't kill them unless they're obviously going to be a problem for them and they're not going to do what they want them to do growing up. She says that she has a lot of empathy for it. So
a lot of empathy for
George Bush Jr. in that scenario, because he went through the same horror and hell that she went through, but yet he still became the president that was president during 9/11. Now, did he really want to do that? Is he forced to do that? Is it really even him? Does he get swapped out? I don't know. But how do you judge people if they're
the guy was a Dumbo?
Like, because we talked about the idea of whether or not we have free will, and I know it's kind of going all over the place. That was probably what we were going to get with this conversation, because it's really hard to like hammer down how to think about what is just in not only just this world, but after this life, whatever comes after this life.
Right.
So if somebody like George Bush Jr. is forced to become the animal that he became, in the sense that he helped facilitate 9/11 and run one of the, if not the largest modern psyop in human history, 9/11, is he judged because he was forced to do that, or is there mercy? Like, I don't know. I don't know how to.
So why do we see? I guess the question for me is, why do we, like, we shouldn't have the power to judge, I guess. Well, I just don't think that God would be judgy. I just don't. I think he's above all that.
But why would
and I think a lot of it is human manipulation. Why people, like you just said, right? It may have came probably from George Bush Sr., right? So, and I think a lot of these people, and it's just continued on for generations, these manipulations and experiments and everything else that they're doing to people that is like, I mean, we've heard about the shooters, the school shooters and whatever, that have been mind controlled and, went in there and shot up the schools. Well, do we hold them responsible because they've been manipulated? I mean, and who's doing the manipulating, and were they manipulated? And why are we doing that to each other?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of reasons at this point. I mean, now that we know about certain aspects of the tech and the abilities for them to control us, lead our thoughts. A lot of people harp on like video games and stuff like that being violent and whatnot. I play a lot of violent video games, and I am not a violent person. Now maybe they're weaker. Like, I'm not even trying to say I have a strong mind compared to others. I'm not trying to act like I'm all tough or whatnot. But maybe there are more vulnerable people that have a lot of hatred for the way that they were raised and all that kind of shit, that would take something like that and act on it because of that. I get that. But for me, my growing up with that kind of stuff, it never affected me like that. Or watching movies where there's horror depicted and a lot of killing or war or all this kind of stuff. I don't know why people do the things, but you could talk about freaking vaccinations, indoctrination, physiological things that happened in the womb, like fucking all kinds of stuff.
Well, and I think a really big thing is social engineering, right? And which goes back to what I was saying earlier about how they have manipulated your reality into believing what your life is. Basically, I mean, because they tell us that, and they've made it that we need money to be successful. Although, that's what we consider successful, isn't it? Someone that has a lot of money. That to me isn't isn't success. Are you a good person or not? I mean, that should matter more than if you're driving a fancy car and have a fancy house. You know, that to me just tells me that you're more indoctrinated.
Okay, that's a good point to like segue into the idea of who decides what's good.
Exactly.
Because
right?
these cult motherfuckers that love to get away with doing whatever they want and live above the law and make all the peasants and goyim live by their laws, they see good as dominating the lower class people and doing whatever they want, and they find pleasure in that, and they consider each other good in the cult.
Right? Exactly.
So do you not want justice and for that to stop?
Well, in the world that we live in now, I mean, do I want rape and murder happening? Of course not. I mean, which takes me back to another little movie. It's actually a French movie and it has subtitles in it. And these people come from, I guess it's maybe like a different planet or something. I think it's called La Belle Verte or something. The Beautiful Green, I think it translates to. Anyhow, it starts off with two nomadic tribes that meet up with each other, and they're all kissing and hugging each other. And they ask this one girl, she has an Earth father or mother, so she wants to go back to Earth to find out who this person is. And they're asking everybody as they're around, who wants to go to Earth? And everyone looks down, right?
Oh yes, I've seen about this. Yes.
And then it's like, okay, well, who wants to go here? Oh, me. Who wants to go to Earth? And everyone's like this, right? Nobody wants to go to Earth.
Yes.
So that to me, like, it's a funny movie. It's poignant though too, because when she does land in Earth, she lands at concrete and she's used to open spaces and feeling the grass between her toes and stuff, right? And here she's in concrete and the cars are going by and she's like right? And just all these different things that we take for granted because we've grown up with it, but to see it from a different point of view and to see how we've destroyed our Earth. But also in a little part in this movie, she always puts her feet in water and does this kind of thing to talk to the people back wherever she's from, which is cool because it's water, right? Water's a conduit. So, and we're water too. So you're sending the vibrations out there, which is really cool.
We got to look that up and pull it up so people can take a look at it. I watched it at one point, and I think she goes into a church and she sees, like, you know, the crucified Christ.
Yes.
And she looks up at it, and she's like, "Oh, I wondered what happened to that guy." And Christians might be really offended by that, but I laughed my butt off because she was just like, you know, they all get chosen to go to these different destinations. No one wants to go to Earth. And then she ends up there and she sees the crucified Christ. And she's like, "Oh, I wondered what happened to that guy. They murdered him." What is the name of it again?
La Belle Verte, I think.
La Belle
Verte, Verte, which is green in French. And it's an older movie. I think it's from the 80s, I think. I can always send you the link if you want. It's pretty, it's funny, but like I said, very poignant. So should I bring up another pattern or another issue that might ruffle people's feathers about the crucifix?
Yes, but I want to show them this movie real quick. Okay. I don't know. I guess it says that you can watch it on Netflix. But if you want a movie that it's like not the greatest production in the world, but like it's really intelligent. The way
there it is. Yeah. See, there's the nomadic tribe.
Yeah, like a nomadic tribe. They're all hanging out. It's all peace and love, or I don't know, a hippie life.
Yeah, and they're asking, well, because they meet up and they say, "Hey, you know, who needs oranges?" "Oh, we do," and they're bartering.
Right. It's very hippie vibe. And then but like they're on like some other, like, what'd you say, like a planet or in a different existence than Earth. And
yeah, it could be. Yeah,
and like they're taking.
I don't know if it's necessarily different. I mean, it could be just a different dimension.
Right, a different dimension on the same planet. I don't know, a different dimension and all this stuff. But I can't remember how they even phrase it. They probably don't even get into that, which would be the smart
So
way
you
to
saw
go.
that movie?
I did. I watched it a little while ago, and I thought
Wow.
it was really good. And
Right?
so if people want to go check that out, I would definitely recommend it just because it'll challenge some of your thinking about anything. I'm not saying
Exactly.
it's based on truth, but if the creativity in it
Yes.
is worth watching, and then the way that it makes you think about life is I thought worth the watch for sure.
Right.
And then I just thought it
So
was fucking, because in the start I was like, am I going to be able to stay on this? And then they start talking about someone going to Earth, and everybody puts their head down and does like, don't pick me, don't pick me, don't pick me, kind of a thing. And it's like, what the fuck is this? This is hilarious. And then she has to go to Earth, and then the things that she experiences, and she doesn't understand why people got to behave this way and that kind of stuff.
yeah. Like, why do you wear lipstick? And she goes by a butcher shop, and she's like mortified that they're eating animals, and which is a whole other issue, right? Because again, I've been a vegetarian for 30 years and I'm still alive. Imagine.
Right.
So, okay. I just want to touch on this real quick. It's a point about protein, because, protein is being put in our faces everywhere, right? Protein.
Eats the bugs.
Well, no, don't eat the bugs.
Eats the bugs.
But I found them I found a bunch of caterpillars, actually. They were dead. They were probably deep fried or something. I don't know. In some ethnic store here. It was like, ooh, what? Anyhow, I just want to talk about protein for a quick sec.
Okay.
I find it fascinating that people think that if they eat protein, that is going to go into their body, especially when the protein, like say from a cow, they think they're going to get the protein from an animal that is a vegetarian. So how is the animal that's a vegetarian getting the protein in its body? I'm thinking that your body makes protein. So I think that protein is overrated personally. That's just my own personal take on it. And, it says in the Bible, thou shalt not kill. It doesn't say thou shalt not kill people or, something specific. I don't know. I just think that we should be a steward to everything on the planet.
I think it says we shouldn't murder. I think technically killing is in like self-defense, and killing like opposition that's trying to murder, and like gain bloodline and all that kind of stuff. I think there's a difference. Committing murder for the sake of murder is different.
Well, I don't know. Listen to George Carlin. He takes the 10 Commandments and puts them into 3. I think 3 or 2. I can't remember. Anyhow, that's just a little side note, right? I mean,
you're not eating any protein.
No, I'm not saying that. Listen, I eat eggs. I think eggs is the perfect food. Okay. I used to have a farm, and I had ducks, and the ducks lay eggs. I had 3 female ducks, and they're gonna lay eggs whether they, whether there's a male around or not. So I eat eggs. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Where's Hillbilly Heart?
Yeah, I know. Listen, you know what? Hillbilly and I actually said something once when I first watched one of her videos, and we talked it out. Like, I mean, I don't care. Like, my kids eat meat. My whole family eats meat. It's only me that doesn't. So I'm just making an observation about protein. I just find it interesting that especially the largest animals on the planet too are all vegetarians, right? Your hippopotamus or whatever, your giraffes and elephants, they're all vegetarians.
But their bodies have protein in them still. I think it's genetically created.
Well, or your body makes it. I'm just throwing it out there. It's just something else, right? So I mean, you eat whatever you want. I mean, no judgment here. That's one thing that I've learned is
right.
I try really hard not to have judgment on anything. So
I think we have to judge to a certain degree, though.
You think?
Right. Yeah, I do. Like, should children?
But who are you to judge somebody else?
Okay. Is there an age of consent when it comes to judgment? Because you shouldn't allow children to play with knives. You shouldn't allow children to watch porn. You shouldn't allow children to just go and have sex with everybody or have sex with adults. Right. You got to judge.
Yeah. Okay. But is that judgment or is that protection? I don't know.
Well, I think a judgment is a protection in all ways. Like when somebody's coming into my space and I'm like, I feel off about them, I'm judging the fuck out of them. Something's up with them. Fuck you. I don't like you because I don't feel right and something weird's going on. You're judged. Fuck off. Huh?
Yeah, well,
Protection, yes. Judgment is protection. Judgment is for the sake of protecting humanity. Judgment in the form of treason and prosecuting it is to protect the civilization.
yes. Well, we don't live in La Belle Verte. We live in a world that is full of contradictions. And like I said, dark and light, hot and cold. That's a world we live in. So, but yes, I understand what you're saying. But I still, well, I don't know.
I think you're being a little woo-woo.
I could be a little woo-woo. I could be a lot woo-woo, actually. But you have me on your show. What does that say about you?
So how do we stop what's happening here on Earth if we don't start putting some motherfuckers to death?
Yeah, but is that going to happen? I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to see all the baddies gone. I would.
How would you do it?
I don't know. I heard they're setting up the guillotines again. I don't know if that's true or not.
Is that exciting?
What's with that? What's with the stare?
I want you to say it.
Want me to say what?
You want to see the treason remedied in the form of the death penalty. Judgy. I'm judging.
I know you're judging. Well, man, I don't know. It's that's a tough call.
Boo boo.
If you are physical, like if you are hurting somebody, no, there's no room. Like, yeah, you know what? We need to do a big cleanup on the planet. Absolutely.
No, I love it.
Okay.
Look, I don't look forward to watching it. I went hunting a little bit. I was talking to my mom about this actually earlier. Just cleaning dishes, talking about hunting and stuff like that. Wasn't really my thing, but if I had to do it to survive, yes, I would.
Right.
But as much as I want the treason remedied, I'm not looking forward to like watching head get chopped off. I don't want to see blood spilling all over the place. I just want it to be done somehow.
Right.
But I want to know that it got done. Therefore, I gotta like witness it, and you better make it believable. Like, and I'm not saying fake it and make it believable. I'm saying like I gotta know, because now we're at the phase now where you, like, when we talk about, we were touching on a little bit of World War II, the Nazis, the Operation Paperclip. Well, Nuremberg 1 was said that there was just a lot of stand-ins and a lot of like people that didn't really matter stood in for these officers and scientists and people that should have been put to death, and they weren't. Instead, they were flown into, a lot of them, to the United States, yada, yada, yada. So when we were talking about early on, we, as anybody that wanted justice for like the jabs and the freaking, now what we think of maybe as the biocyber interface, what Sabrina says, bioweapon, whatever you want to fucking call it, whatever. It was a weapon against humanity in some way, shape, or form. Biocyber interface is probably the more technical term. We wanted justice against Fauci. We wanted justice against the people that pushed this on us. And we were talking about Nuremberg Part 2. Well, now you're at the point now where how are you going to know who is actually murdered and dead, or put to death, not murdered, but killed, like put to death for crimes against humanity? How are you going to know? We don't know if Epstein's still alive.
I had heard from somebody, I can't remember who, that there was a sighting somewhere. It's like, oh, here we go. I mean, listen, I don't think
Epstein?
I don't think he's dead. I think, we always hear about these underground bunkers, right, where they're stocked up with food and seeds and all this stuff. Maybe they're under there. Who knows? I mean, that's what they did with the Nazis, right?
Probably.
So it's just such a shame that Well, first of all, that the reality that we were living in like 10 or 20 years ago has been completely shattered. And that we live in a world that's sick. It's a sick world.
Right.
And who made it that way? Is there going to be another reset? Well, there almost needs to be another reset. So, but who's going to survive? And who took those pictures, during the whole Tartaria kind of
Where did these pictures
thing,
come
right?
from?
Like,
There's also like
yeah,
people claiming there's pictures of like inner Earth and shit.
right. But you've seen those pictures where there's like nobody on the streets, but somebody
Yeah.
took the picture. It's almost like the guy who landed on the moon. So who was filming him as he was coming out? Just put two and two together, people. They didn't land on the moon, okay? But you know what I'm saying? People don't think about that. Oh, first step for mankind. Well, no, it's not, because somebody's already there taking a picture. Oh, well, no, it's on the, was on the, not the arm, but you know what I mean? Something on the mountain. Really? So it made it through space and all that? And come on.
I know it was like the tin can, like they took everything off that had a certain amount of weight, and it still was able to accomplish all this stuff in an unknown space and landing on something with gravity unknown and all that kind of stuff. I've watched a video where they claim that they placed it strategically onto one of the legs of the orbit, whatever the fuck they call that damn thing. When it landed, it was facing on the stairs so that it would capture the moment.
So it traveled through all of that and still managed that. Okay, so my friend that I've talked to you about, who lives out west, he is a photographer. So he gets people, because he talks to people in his shop all the time about this. And he says, okay, this is the camera that they used. He's got the actual camera. It's some Nikon. I don't know what it is. He says, okay, now this is where you push the shutter. Now you have these gloves on, because that's what they were wearing. Now I want you to push the shutter with those gloves. And everyone says, well, you can't. He goes, that's right. You can't do it. So I don't know. Did they have a remote? I mean,
they called on a telephone. And
I was just going to say that. I mean, come on. That's the other part to it, right?
We can't even talk on phone sometimes in certain areas. You get into the West Virginia areas and some of these places, even here in Missouri, where like you try to make a call, well, good luck. And they were talking all the way to the moon.
Yeah. Woo! Well, yeah, exactly. Right.
I don't know.
So, and then what? They didn't go there for how many years? Well, why not?
All right. But we did establish that Velvet wants to see justice.
Well, yeah, we live in a sick world. That's what I said. It does need to be cleansed. Now, does that mean that we need another reset? Well, who's going to survive and build the new world? That's what I want to know.
Right. And somebody earlier said that the idea of justice is dystopian in this world.
Well, I think, which is why we probably are going to be in for a reset.
Would you be at all satisfied to even see something that was a believable form of justice, a Nuremberg 2.0, but they did it so well that you actually felt satisfaction believing that these people who would no longer be allowed to be in society, maybe they'd get plastic surgery? And, there's people saying that guy in Florida, that Pete guy is Epstein. I don't know. Anyways, what if there was a satisfying fake Nuremberg 2.0? But we didn't know it was fake. It was always questionable. And lots of people disappeared. No more Fauci, no more Hillary Clinton, no more any Clintons, no more Bushes, no more I don't know, Trump for warp speed, all that kind of stuff. All of them put to death. You at least saw them put to death, even if it was CGI or like completely manipulated. But it was so believable that you didn't know if it was real or not. And they never showed back up as themselves.
Well, that's a dumb question. How am I supposed to answer that if I don't, if it's not real?
But you don't know.
Yeah.
That's the trick. Because I always wondered, like the fake alien invasion, if they did the blue beam thing and it was so convincing, would I still be scared? Because like it seems like there's an alien invasion and it's so fucking real that but I know that it's coming and it's supposed to be fake. but it's like I literally am seeing shit blowing up around me and like fucking people being fucking sucked up into fucking space. Wouldn't that, or in the air, whatever you want to say? Wouldn't that be fucking scary?
I don't know. Or would you just look at it because of how much knowledge you have now? Would you just look at it like it's a movie? Because it's like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. It's like when COVID came around, it's like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. So,
Right, but it was still, yeah, it was still horrifying. But I think I'd be pretty freaking scary. I think I might pee myself a little bit. I think Velvet, I think you literally might just laugh.
I probably would. And then I'd probably get sucked up.
And then for a moment after I pee myself.
Dorian, you were right.
I told you, it's fake, it's real, man.
Right?
Who fucking knows, man? This place is crazy. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. There's a lot of, but well, yeah, them getting sucked into the air, get some of the Christians or whatever. That's the rapture. That's the rapture. People getting sucked up so they don't have to face the apocalypse.
That's right. Well, we'll just get rid of the non-believers and the good people. We'll just make the whole planet just awful.
Do you okay, here's the other question.
Okay.
I mean, from my faith, I believe in demons, and from my struggles with addiction, and then we'll start wrapping up here in a little bit. We're coming almost up on 3 hours. Isn't it amazing how fast time flies on these things? I believe in demons. I've wondered, even if they got rid of all the bad people, the corporeal flesh people. Now we can get into cloning, cyborgs, all that shit. Sure. All right. Let's get rid of all that stuff. Let's say we can get rid of all of that. Let's say we can even get rid of the evil tech and take control of it. The good people. Do you think, even if you don't believe in demons, now I do believe in demons. I believe demons would tempt and possess and do all the things that they've done, or if it's energies or whatever. Do you think that a good civilization, how long do you think, and this is just speculation and we're just having conversation, we're just a couple real people having real fucking conversation.
Yeah.
Do you think like that world, like in that movie that you were talking about, do you think it could stay like that, where people were actually good and cultivated a beautiful existence if given the opportunity? Or do you think there will always eventually be small groups that band together that want to take advantage of these people that want to believe everybody's good?
I would like to think that people would be good, because I think that we wouldn't be raised with, number one, competition. Like right from the time we're born, almost, it's all about competing, right? Our sports is about competition. So right away, our schools are about competition. If we take that away and we teach people to be kind to each other and to love each other and raise them on those kind of values instead of, horror flicks and those videos that you love so much. If you take that out of society, right, then people don't know. It goes back to what I was saying about, who thinks of werewolves and vampires? Like, honestly, that kind of thing wouldn't even cross somebody's mind if you were raised in an environment, a loving environment, where you respect nature, you respect others, but mostly you respect yourself. I really don't think that you would have the bad. I think it's a lot of social engineering, stuff that's being pumped into us, even music and some of the lyrics, it's all around us about, and the news for sure, right? The news is always, when did they do something good on the news? Many years ago, like 25 years ago, I actually approached somebody and I said, I'd like to do a show called Just Good News. And search for, people that saved animals or saved humans or did good things instead of always a negative. It's just more reinforcement. And again, we've watched the media manipulate our minds, and we wouldn't have that if it was a world where we all loved and trusted each other. Yeah, I do think that if we could wipe off all the evil, I think that there is that. And I don't think that it would have to resort to being a bad world.
Right.
An evil world.
Right. And if it would be a cultivation of positive energies, you would have the positive energies. I mean, you can talk about rife and stuff like that, but you get rid of whatever these things called viruses or parasites. Some people don't believe in any viruses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you have positive frequencies, not radiation, not biofield harming, corporeal body harming energies floating around everywhere and being targeted against us, it would be interesting to see if or how long a civilization would. That's what I've always wondered, if we actually remedied the trees and gave it, like my thought, you know, when I thought about like some of this stuff, when I still believed in the Q operation, whatever, that stuff all aside, I've still always thought if you actually start prosecuting the treason, you set an example for the entire world. If you show that you're going to do this, that alone will stop the cheating in elections. That alone will stop some of these people from doing it. Will there always be criminals? Yes. I mean, the idea here we're talking about is the possibility of getting rid of all of them, which is also scary because they could use that as a ploy to bring in the surveillance state and use that as the reason why it exists so that we can't do it. But we don't want that. We want it to go back to just natural. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous. I kind of like the luxuries of certain things that we have, of course, but it would be nice to not have all this fucking technology and to not have all of this shit that infects our lives and takes over our minds and leads us in a direction that is not natural or organic or heart fire enriching existence.
Yeah. Well, you know, the technology and all these great things, like, don't get me wrong, I love my dishwasher, but you know, I mean, it's made us lazy, and it's isolated us. So, I mean, when I was young, we didn't have the issue. I walked to school. Like, I walked a long ways to go to school. Now they take buses all the time because, you know, even if they live like a block from the school, because, you know, you never know what can happen in that block. I mean, we live in this like paranoid world that they've created. So if we could get, you'd have to start from scratch, though.
I know, right?
You know,
wouldn't you have to like hunter and gather and like kill animals and shit, though?
well, no, why would you have to kill animals? There's all kinds of plants that you can eat.
That's if you get good rain. What if you have a drought, or what if you're in an area where there's
okay, well, if we lived in a perfect world, we wouldn't have to worry about that now, would we? We wouldn't have to worry about them manipulating the weather and the chemtrails and everything else that they're doing.
Right. It would be nice to have Mother Nature. Now the argument could be made that all this is a fucking manufactured existence and this whatever the fuck it is. But if you had Mother Nature and what it is, what most of us think of it as like a natural thing that would bring homeostasis to the planet, whatever we live on in, it would be nice to see what that was actually like, where it wasn't man manipulated or artificial intelligence manipulated, technology manipulated. And to see the world heal itself and to see humanity heal itself. I would love to see that opportunity.
Yeah. And I just want another little quick note that I wanted to say when you were talking there earlier. When I was in Japan, I'd go by these little side streets and mom and pop would be sitting in the back in another room watching some soap opera or something. And all their stuff is out there. And people would just go in the store and whatever. Nobody steals. Now, this was going back in the 80s. And I asked a makeup artist, why doesn't, you know, this is what happened. This is so foreign to me because we don't do this in my country. And he says, oh, because we chop off your hand if we catch you stealing. I thought, hey, there's a solution.
Right. Sets a precedence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually puts a consequence. We haven't seen like these like cute people, when people talk about military tribunals and all this bullshit going on. I think it was back in the 60s the last time they even prosecuted somebody from a military tribunal and put him to death, and it so happened to be a black man. So it's like you question whether or not they set him up or they just wanted to get rid of him. I don't freaking know. There was a lot of racism and stuff back then. Regardless, you don't see anything being handled, no treason or whatnot. You might see like Weinstein go to prison. You might see a few things that they give us. Maybe some of those guys just get so out of control that even the cults like get that fucker like away from us, kind of a thing. Or they break the Omerta code, as Juxtaposition said. Everything's an Omerta code. It's a code of silence and a code of honor in their cult where they don't tell the secrets of the cult. They break that and they get taken out, or they get taken out because they no longer bring wealth into the cult. They're no longer usable, celebrities and those kinds of figures, yada, yada, yada. But it's tough to tell. I loved competition growing up. I loved competing. I don't want competition in the sense of like it becoming a violent thing. I do love watching mixed martial arts, I'm not going to lie. And that's one of my guilty pleasures, I guess you would say. But I love watching two people go at it in a controlled environment where there's a referee and there's rules and there's limitations. There's no weapons involved, and it's a hand-to-hand combat, if you will. I like that stuff. But
so the question is then, if you were raised without seeing that, would you still be into that? Right? Probably not, because then you would think that you're hurting your fellow man.
I know, but then from this looking at that, I mean, I would trade this for a better world of peace and love and all that kind of stuff. But I kind of would think of myself as like a pussy.
Oh, no. Okay, now that's social engineering. That's how you've been raised, through your friends, through schooling, through whoever, right? So this is what I'm saying. You need to get rid of all that. But what? But
if you want to become a better person in some ways, there needs to be a form of competition. There needs to be an incentive. Why? Because I just think that people, if you want to bring out the best in somebody, sometimes there needs to be competition.
Why?
Because I don't like, if I didn't have an incentive to say like, I don't know, like run faster or climb the mountain and push the human ability to the limit, like you see these people that do these things that some of it that I would never be able to do, whether it's like skydiving and those kinds of things. Like if you want to like be creative and push the human spirit to the limit of what we're capable of doing, there is competition. This guy was able to jump off the cliff that was that high. Like, I'm not saying everybody has to do it, but I'm just saying in the world of even a good world of creativity and maximizing human potential, I would say that there's a form of competition that's a healthy competition.
Well, then maybe it's something to do with yourself and just pushing yourself, finding out what your limits are. Instead of having to compete with somebody, maybe you're just finding your own boundaries. I don't know.
That's not what I've found. So like if I'm running.
Well, no, because we don't live in that kind of a world. Right? What? Someone behind you?
What? No, I mean,
oh, yeah. Is it a kitty cat? Is it a kitty cat? Is it that cutie that just had to, like smile in the camera there, that little one?
No, I had to check myself before I wrecked myself. What I'm saying is, if I'm running against, say, my best friend, we love each other. We're not trying to hurt each other. But if I'm about to quit and he calls me a pussy and he's still going strong, I find that will within me that I wouldn't have found if I was just running alone. And then I push myself and find a second win. And then he starts lagging behind and I'm like, come on, don't be a wuss. Or come on, man, you can do it. Maybe I don't use a bad language because we don't want to negatively reinforce the structure of his water in his body. Whatever it is, like, hey, man, I believe in you. Come on, man. We got another mile in us. Give him positive reinforcement. Then I'm like, okay, man, I can do it. I know it. Thank you for the encouragement. I'm going to push hard. And I make it farther than I would have by myself. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's completely different.
Okay, let's do it like that. Now we're setting the stage for the brand new world.
There you go.
Velvet, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, we're challenging each other. Like, I believe there is a healthy competition. You weren't so open to that.
Well,
Now you are. We can see
no,
each
no, no,
other
no, no, no,
point of
no,
view
no.
a little bit. Yes, maybe a couple punches in the face every once in a while when somebody's out of line is okay. Right? No?
No.
I always
No,
gotta push the
because
limits.
well, I was going to correct you when you said, come on, you pussy, because we wouldn't talk to each other like that. We would, but you corrected yourself, and that's how it would be, right? More
So
encouraging.
here's part of the problem in the new world. I
Okay.
think guys like me, I'd have to like, you'd have to get rid of me.
Well, that's
I'm
what I'm
not a
saying.
bad guy, and I'm not
No,
an
no.
evil guy, but I have the old world ingrained in me to such a degree that it's really hard not to be an ornery, like stubborn, kind of an asshole sometimes.
Okay, so I disagree with that. I just think that that is something a growth cycle. No, especially no, because look at you're way more aware now than what you were like 10 years ago, right? So I'm sure that you treat people differently,
I
treat
know.
yourself differently, right? Oh
Right.
yeah, the titties. Rum and
I
soda.
know. I
Rum and
know.
soda from now on,
Okay.
all I'm gonna think about is itty bitty titties now.
All right. All right. Okay. So then we have to have this conversation, and then because we
I
just have
know.
to now because rum and soda just got it in my brain. And in a world where they don't have all these like radiations and infections and sexually transmitted
Yes,
diseases.
and we had our biofields back, and we could do
Right.
amazing things.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we having orgies? And I'm not promoting this shit. I'm just asking, what are the limitations here?
Well, no, you wouldn't, because you would honor the person that you're with.
But some people
No,
wouldn't
not
agree
in
with
it.
that. So we're not allowing people to have extra relationship affairs, not affairs. We're not allowing people to have, like, there's rules here, right? So you're setting boundaries, and I'm a person that I'm just a one person. I like relationships, and I'm just having some fun a little bit,
Right.
because I want to know we have to judge people to a certain degree, right? And even in this new society, so a man or a woman isn't allowed to have multiple sexual partners at the same time.
Okay, so this opens up a whole other can of worms, because we have completely bastardized sex. Okay? Sex is supposed to be for creation. Okay, I remember when I was breastfeeding my son, my brother looked at me and he goes, "That's so weird." And I said, "What?" He goes, "Well, I've always thought of those as like entertainment for myself." And I said, "Well, that's not their purpose. I mean, that's why we have the memories, right?" But um but that's why we're built. It's supposed to be a sacred exchange of union between man and woman. That's what it's
Oh, so you're against gay people now?
No, I didn't say that. Well,
This shit is so hard, man. I'm telling you, like, when people think about like a perfect world, it's really hard, right? There's a lot
yeah,
of
it
ethical
is.
dilemmas. There's a lot of ethical dilemmas.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, because we don't live in it, and we haven't been raised that way. I mean, it's hard to even wrap your mind around what it would be. But I mean, I would like to think that we honor and respect each other, and that goes to sex. I mean, look at the sex is everywhere. It's to the point where it's like, you know what? Can you put on some clothes now? Like, I'm just tired of these young girls running around,
Right.
half naked all the time. Every time you turn on some music video, the women are like, yeah, no, it's not right. It's not right.
I agree.
So, we've been over sexualized, and we've lost the meaning. This is why relationships break up. You're supposed to work with each other. You help each other. That's what it's about. It's not when times get tough, I'm out of here. That's not how it works either, right? It shouldn't be like that. But we've created this world where it's easier to do that. And then on top of that, now the younger generation, My one son is like, yeah, forget it. I am never going to be with anybody. I am not having kids. Like, don't even look this way. Right. And that, but that is very, it's a big point now in that generation, it seems, is they don't want it. They just want to hook up and, they swipe left or right or whatever it is. And, they go get the rocks off. But then they're missing the whole meaning of what intimacy and a good relationship is supposed to be. Right? It's a loving exchange. You're sharing bodily fluids. You're sharing your energy with somebody. I mean, that is sacred. And we've just like completely decimated that.
I love the idea that it's, I mean, not just that it's an idea. I love that I think of it as sacred.
It is. It is.
Right. I mean, I'm a man, so, and I mean, we're humans, so you get sexually attracted to certain people, or you whatever it is, hormones, whatever, all that kind of stuff. I get it. But when I think about it now, I think about it in terms of sacredness and that people should value it more. And I agree. I think if there weren't all of the drugs, all of the indoctrination, all of the over sexualization. Now, I'm not talking, I can't stand the idea of women having to cover their faces and those kinds of practices, those kinds of things. No, but it should be left to the imagination more.
Yeah, it's sexier that way.
Right. And that's, and now it's just flesh, and it's like, it's desensitization to that. So now you got to move on to something else that is not what sex was intended for, which is more carnal and more just, I mean, it's not real making love. It's
well, I was just going to say that, right?
Yeah.
People don't know how to make love anymore. They just have sex. And because and the younger generation is growing up with pornography, so they think that that's what sex is, and it's like, yeah, I know that's not what it is at all. So, yeah, you're right. Hey, you girl, it is 100% sacred, and I hope you enjoyed your pizza. Yeah, right. So women get that. Women I think, get that more than men about how it's sacred.
Man, we could talk forever.
In the world that we live in. Yeah, I know. We could go on and on and on, but I know we need to wrap this up. It's been like 3 hours.
Right.
And I could talk to you like forever.
I hope people appreciate just real people just having real conversation, and we're not pushing anything. There's no agenda. I do my stuff with like JK, but I have my stuff with, the other people. I want to get Alessandro back on. We'll talk more about like some of the celebrity deaths and stuff like that. Man, that dude got like hacked and his shit taken over. He's got to get like a whole new like freaking system. Like, it's crazy. And he was just getting ready to like drop the smoking gun on the Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell murders. Unreal what happens. But on this channel, I want everybody to feel welcome. Now, I brought up earlier, like the Church of Satan and these people and pedophiles. I can't get down with that, man. I will have a conversation with one of them. It'll probably be the first and last. I cannot get involved with anybody that wants to pair themselves with Satan, even if you don't believe Satan exists and you just think it's a fantasy, fun, fucking horror movie that you want to participate in this world. I can't get down with you.
Right. No,
I'm sorry. That's just me. I guess. That's where I have a limit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny, like trying to make Satan into like a fun character that's like a cartoon. And now they're bringing it in the fucking schools. Oh, we should be able to, because Christians can bring in their stuff. Like we can have an ethical conversation, but the whole Satan thing and then making him into a cute, cuddly, like he's your friend. Oh my gosh, man. Regardless if you don't believe in Satan being real, like it's obvious what that character represents to the majority of the world.
Right. Well, listen, I think that, the big, what they always say, don't talk about religion or politics. But those are the biggest issues I think that we have in this country or in the world. I don't think that we should have huge governments. I really don't. I think we should have smaller governments. Not in the world that we live in, though. But it seems like everyone that's involved in government, they're all shady characters. They shouldn't be there. So, and religion, like I said to you before, like I had a friend that grew up as a Dutch Reformed in that religion, and she couldn't wear pants or go to dances, no makeup, no nail polish, no, like, it just on and on and on. They had no electricity in their house, and oh, she married a divorced man, so her family divorced her.
Right.
And I was like, this is from a book that you're reading? Like, where's your compassion? This is your flesh and blood, but you can just wipe them up because of what a book says. So yeah, I have problems with that too.
Right. I got a lot of beefs too. I mean, I
Yeah.
won't name the family member, but I have a family member or somebody close to me that they got pregnant unexpected, and they tried church, and they tried because they were on their own and they were pregnant, and it's like all of a sudden they changed their entire life and got them out of a bad situation. But then they go to a church and they're not accepted because it's out of wedlock and there's no father in the picture. And then try to like have like assistance from this community that's supposed to be accepting of all people and forgiving and all that kind of stuff. And all they did was judge and shun. And then they just said, fuck them, and never wanted anything to do with anything that had to do with that faith ever again. I get it. And then when I worked at Starbucks, I worked with a lot of people that grew up in the Catholic faith. And there was a lot of gay dudes that had been molested when they were growing up, and that's interesting how that happened. But there was a lot of females too that had bad experiences and were scarred by it. And then there's people that would say like, well, I'm really an atheist. I don't really believe that there isn't God, but I'm also a Catholic. It's just a practice of my religion. It's like, this is crazy, right? So they're an atheist because they don't really believe in God, but they believe in the importance of tradition and a practicing of a religious faith, and they were raised in it, so they accepted that one. But they don't really believe in that God and the way that it's believed in by the whatever.
Right. So, if we took away politics and religion, it would be a much different world.
Yeah. Are you going to start singing John Lennon, Imagine?
Right. Yeah, I know.
Was that your jam?
No, I'd rather sing Power to the People. Yeah, that's
Power to the people.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff, I'm not going to lie, like that John Lennon did, especially later on after the Beatles, that I really loved. I mean, that probably could trigger a lot of people. And I know the Tavistock Institute, stuff like that. I mean, the question of why they take him out. Did they really kill him? Maybe he's still alive somewhere and moved on to the next. Yoko Ono, fuck her. That's my opinion on that. But I think that John Lennon might have actually been trying to do some good things and they didn't like it. I don't know, though. Yeah. I don't know. It could have been a psyop. Fuck, for all I know, he could have been completely controlled. But I listen to some of the lyrics and I'm like, he actually wanted peace, it seems, to like give peace a chance, like those kinds of things. I want to see stuff like that. I really do.
Well, and Michael Jackson did too, to his credit. He wrote some songs that were,
that challenged everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
they don't really care about us. I mean, damn.
Yeah.
He just said it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he has quite a few songs, The Man in the Mirror.
Yep. Yeah. He did a lot of them, and then there was supposedly an album that never got released that had a lot of songs on it that all of them spoke to.
Oh, they'll be releasing that at some point.
Right. Well, a lot of these songs were actually ones that seemed to be telling a lot of the truth too about what was going on in the world, and they never allowed it to be released. Now,
well, maybe they'll release that after this movie because that movie just came out too. So the Michael movie. So they might follow it up.
There's a Michael Jackson movie?
Yeah.
There's a new one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I just watched
I'm gonna check it out. I mean, when I first watched the Netflix thing and I wasn't awake and I didn't pay attention to conspiracies and I watched that shit, I was like, fuck that guy. He was a pedo. But now when I look at it, I'm like, and I see him challenging the CEO of Sony, calling him the devil, and calling out a lot of stuff, and then finding out how much his dad controlled him, and likely how Michael literally probably got raped and tortured growing up, just like Bieber has suffered, it seems to be the case. Same with, I would say, maybe a Britney Spears or something like that. And now people can make arguments all they want about any kind of celebrity, whether or not they make the choice to still stay in the cult or whatever it is. But you see some of that and you're like, they slandered him and tried to destroy him because he actually pushed back. That's what it seems like. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's true. And of course, they have the power of the media behind them. So, yeah. Interesting.
Well,
anyhow, so after 3 hours, we haven't come to any conclusions.
That was the point, though, just to have discussions so that more discussions can be had and the conversation can continue, because we're really just asking, is this really reality? What is reality? What is the truth? We don't really know because they fucking lied about everything.
That's right.
So, and I want to have a space where anybody can talk and share their point of view. We're going to have to agree to disagree on many things because it's going to take all of us, and then take other people's perspectives into consideration. Because when we stop doing that, you stop being open-minded, even though most people that are awake or whatever you want to say claim to be open-minded. It's just not the case.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Don't paint me as that. I always say I'm not a truther. I'm not an authority. I'm just a guy online that's really trying to cultivate some kind of community. There's no cult. Not tiny. I'll tell you all about what it's like to be in a cult. They will make you fear about leaving. I was told that I actually had spaceships watching me, and that if I ever left, that the protection of the Galactic Alliance would stop protecting me, and that I would be a danger because I knew about gene decode and I worked with them. That kind of shit is a cult. Here, you might get kicked out. You might even just leave. Nothing's going to happen to you.
Right. No, and that's how we have to be going forward, right? You have to have an open mind, and like I said before, don't get triggered. Just kind of go, okay, well, if you get triggered, that's actually a sign for you to look at your belief system, right? And go, okay, wait a minute. And let's look at this and just take it in. And I mean, you can throw it away if you want. It doesn't matter. So
absolutely. And we've had great conversations, and I knew that this would just be fun. The conversation goes wherever it goes. That's what I think normal conversation would have. We just sat down, didn't have any plan. I mean, we obviously planned a little bit of this, knew that we were going to do everything. I think we kind of planned it day before yesterday or something like that. We kind of decided, that would probably work Friday, kind of a thing. But we didn't really plan anything. We just kind of show up like you were going to hang out like you made a date at a coffee shop. You sit down with a friend and have a conversation and see where it goes. That's what we're going to do here, and that's what we're going to continue to do. And Velvet, this was great.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed it. I hope everybody else did enjoy it too, and maybe give you some things to think about. That's what we're supposed to do. Use our brains.
Absolutely. And you're a good sport, because I could be ornery and I like to push back a little bit on certain things.
Yeah, no, I like that though. I mean, because that's how you grow. That's how you you bring up a point and I'm like, yeah, okay, let me think about that. So that's what we're supposed to do. Weigh it all out. So
yeah, and thank you everybody that showed up and then hung out.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody that watches this on the replay. I think this is great. There'll be more sound bath coming from Velvet as she sees fit. I am not tying anyone down and forcing them and telling them I want a project by this time. No, whenever Velvet feels like doing one, we'll do one. And if I can fit it in my schedule, you fit it in yours, great. It's a cult for tax purposes, and we can make it a religion to get tax free. Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, I love the people here in the chat. You guys have been great. We've had a lot of fun, a lot of jokes, but then also a lot of seriousness, because that's where we got to be. We got to be able to roll with the punches, because they constantly are coming at us. They're always throwing new psyops. Everything's fake and gay, as some of the sayings go. But love and our ability to be creative beings and use our imaginations for good is also extremely powerful, and we can harness that and keep
more cowbell.
More cowbell.
Who said more cowbell? But no, I mean, honestly, I would like to do one with the pyramids and the bowls. Excuse me, next time. So mix it all up.
We can have conversation, and then we can have intermittent sound bath.
No, we can do that too. Whatever you want, Boom. It's your show.
No, it's our show.
Oh, it's our show?
Well, this is. Yes. I mean, we don't have an official show, but I mean, if you want to do your sound bath, however you want to do it. I want to do some where it's the playlist so that it's just sound bath, so people can listen to sound bath and not have to listen to talking if they just want the beauty of the sound. But I would love to do some where we're working live with the audience and the energy of it, and then you using that to go into a sound bath, and then coming out of it and talking about how we feel and what we want to cultivate. I don't want it to get all fucking woo crazy shit, because it gets kind of crazy with some of that stuff. But I think that would be fun.
Okay, we can do that. Sure.
Did you watch the show that Sabrina and Chris and I did, where he was doing the music and she was singing the art?
Yeah.
So something kind of like that, where we go in and out of it a little bit, where there is discussion, but we also boost the heart fire and increase the positivity.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Yeah. maybe, you know, if anybody who's listening to this, like, make a comment on what you'd like to see. I mean, you
Absolutely.
know,
Absolutely.
so cool. Well, that
All
was
right.
fun. Thank you.
That was fun. Did you have any closing statement or anything you want to say before we close up?
No, just thank you for everyone who's, you know, hung in and has an open mind. And, you know, hey, we're all just trying to get through this thing we call life. So, you know, we're doing the best that we can.
Absolutely. And then I'll
Yeah.
close with defining woo-woo is when it gets so far out there where it does feel like you're like in a cult setting, where it's like I don't know what it is. I don't know how to exactly explain it, but when it gets so far out there where it's like kumbaya, my lord, and no one's allowed to like make jokes, and it's like I don't know. If it gets too woo-woo, it gets creepy and it gets cult-like, and that's what I try to avoid as much as possible. That's why I interject like nervous comedy sometimes, because sometimes I get really nervous because some of the topics are really tough to discuss. But I have a lot of fun. I appreciate you all being here.
You know, you should bring that up though, like, and say, you know what, that makes me feel weird or something, because I'm okay with that. So we talk it out. That's what we're doing. We're talking shit out.
That sound bath session made me feel awkward.
What?
I
Did
was
it?
thinking, you know, like if you did a
You?
sound bath session and like it felt really woo-woo, and I was just gonna say to start off the conversation after a sound bath is that it made me feel awkward, then we'd be able to discuss that awkwardness and move forward.
Oh, okay. I was trying to follow your line of thought there. It kind of went off on a tangent somewhere. So
Maybe that was too woo-woo for Velvet. I hope some of you got it. Otherwise, I'm just a weirdo, and that could be very much the case. Anyways, really appreciate you, Velvet.
Yes.
We'll close out now.
Okay.
This was Friday, May 8th, 2026. Thank you all for being here, and thanks for everybody that watches the replay. Thank you, Velvet,
thank you.
for showing up.
Thank you.
More to come. God bless you all. Catch you on the next one, and peace.
Ciao.
You didn't get that at the end.